Hey, strangers. Welcome to the Strange Sessions with Kory and Krista. We kicked Kurt to the curb. There was a coup, and I am now the co-host.
Kory's just a natural stand-in.
He is a natural stand-in. I'm back. They decided to let me back in.
We wouldn't have to change any initials or anything.
What did I get kicked out for?
Oh. Yeah, what was the coup about?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
I was getting
Should have been like, welcome to Cooking with Kory and Krista.
Cooking with Kory. That's our Strange Szechuan.
Our new YouTube
Strange
channel.
Szechuan, our new YouTube channel.
Do we need to talk about the guy on YouTube who has a show called Strangest, who calls his listeners strangers and says stay strange at the end of every episode?
Send him a cease and desist.
Dash pointed that out to us yesterday, day before yesterday.
It surprises me that this hasn't been on our radar before.
I am surprised too, but then I also looked and he has been around for 4 years and has stopped like a year ago putting out videos. So I don't know what's up with that.
I feel
but
like
you thought at some point somebody would have said
something if they stumble across him, which tells me there's not a lot of cross,
He's probably scared. That's probably why he left. He probably found out about us and he didn't want us to square up with him.
Maybe some strangers on the down low were like, listen, dude, you need to disappear.
It
or I'm going to disappear
It
you.
is YouTube.
It is YouTube. His comments were probably all full of hate and
Right? No kidding.
vitriol.
And then
one of my students, I'll give her a shout out in a little bit, Emily, but I think it was Emily that said she was looking at some of the comments and people said our last episode wasn't very good and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's
You
why
don't even look.
I don't look at our YouTube
What was our last
comments.
episode?
Fatima.
Oh.
But I feel like our episodes aren't as good when I'm in school because I feel like I'm more stressed than usual and don't concentrate as much on the episode. So I feel like they're not as good while I'm working in school.
I wonder if we have strayed a little bit away from like
Paranormal
hauntings.
stuff. We have. And I think that's some of it too. But there's only so much you can do about hauntings.
Yeah, but we haven't covered like the Stanley Hotel or the Winchester
We covered the
Mansion,
Stanley
or-
Hotel when we talked about the
But
haunted
like
areas.
in depth.
I don't think we
Like I
could
feel
have
like
gone
you could
really
do a
more
whole
in depth
episode
than
on that.
That's
I
what I
don't know.
remember telling Kurt that, we were going to pick or try to figure out what topic I was going to do. And it's hard for me to get up about a haunting or something paranormal because I don't believe
You're not really
in
into
it.
it. Yeah,
So it's hard for me. So I remember somebody making a comment about we don't want this to turn into a true crime podcast. And it's like, all right, so I've done a few mysteries of like the diver and John Teeter and stuff, but it's hard to get up for something that you don't believe in. So most of my stuff will never be paranormal.
Yeah,
Right.
Because I don't
but
believe
I just
in
feel like
ghosts
there's
or
not a lot.
hauntings.
You can talk about the Stanley Hotel, but there's just not a lot. It's a haunted house, and then it's the same old. This person heard a bang. This person heard
Well,
that.
I think it'd be cool to tie in like The Shining and Stephen King's experiences there.
Well, after she said that, I was thinking about that, and I think next season we'll try to get back with more paranormal stuff instead of just mysteries. But I want us to do true crime stuff. I want us to do offbeat stuff like Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pies.
Yeah, but I feel like when we do true crime, there's a mysterious twist to it.
There
We don't
usually
just talk
is.
about true crime. Like all of my mini mysteries are usually a missing persons where there's like a
Where
weird
there's still something
twist that doesn't
unanswered.
make sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's usually when I try to pick something, it's the person hasn't been found or it was a weird way that they either died.
Yeah.
Like
Kind
the
of
Elisa Lamb
unexplainable.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
just somebody that was missing and then their body was found like 10 years later. It's not interesting. It's horrible.
I just
but,
feel like there's not a lot to do about paranormal stuff unless we're interviewing people.
yeah.
And we don't want to go that route.
I mean, think of all the strange states we haven't talked about yet. I mean,
Yeah.
the story behind like The Conjuring, like there's a bunch of stuff we've never talked about.
So
that we
next
can talk
season
about.
we'll try to get more back into, because people love the EVP episode.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get more back into the.
Paranormal stuff.
And I wonder if we shouldn't do. I'm not a late one, obviously, but shouldn't do an investigation and like record us doing the investigation and play that on there and talk about the investigation. So maybe that's something we can do next.
Well,
there were a couple people.
Coleman.
Yeah,
Oh my
there
God,
were.
I couldn't think of his name.
There were a couple-
Coleman offered to sponsor an investigation for our group there.
Yeah,
because you can reserve the asylum for just your group. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like $300 maybe or something.
Like I said,
and
what sucks is with my sleep
no,
stuff.
but
I would be.
there's all different time slots that you can go. We could go in an earlier time slot.
go at
That place
noon.
I'm good for investigating from 9 a.m. till noon.
Places don't stop being haunted during the day.
No,
so,
I know.
And
But
it'd be
maybe that's
dark in there
something-
anyway.
It'd be cool, like Kory and I go in there. Kory can like see what you think of that. But
Yeah.
I
we
totally
could
wanna
do
go
like
back.
something like that for next season.
I would love to go back when there's not 20 people with
And
us
it's-
and people I don't know and don't know if I can trust.
And it's not hotter than a box of crotches
Yes,
in there too.
I'd rather go in the winter than in
Yeah.
90-degree weather like I do.
Yeah. So
and if the people don't remember you being there, I wonder if they're still going to try to push, oh, we saw somebody down this hallway, you know, because they may forget that you were there once.
But we can go without the tour people.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you literally can be
Just
in there
walk around.
alone with your group and do your own investigation.
I
So
forgot
that's
we were
what I
recording
would
for
like
a second.
to
I
do.
thought we were just talking. But yeah, but we'll try to get more back into the paranormal stuff next season.
Yeah.
Because this season's almost done.
I know it's
I
crazy.
think after this episode, I think we have 2 more.
Yeah.
And
Do you know
then
what the next episode is?
I
Have
think
you
it's going to
figured
be
it
a
out
missing
yet?
411
Oh,
spotlight.
perfect.
And then after
People love
that is
it.
going to be listener stories.
And then
Or
our
we're gonna-
Christmas
for-
episode.
It's usually a surprise, but
Oh, sorry.
if you guys do
Is
a
it?
Christmas
Yeah,
episode.
If we do-
if we did a
if you guys
if we
Christmas
do a
episode.
Christmas, we might. We'll have to talk about that
Yeah,
after
we'll
this
have to-
episode.
We'll have to have a.
As long as Kory's here, we'll have to talk about that after this
should.
episode. Everybody knows we put out a Christmas.
We'll talk about it for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Mm.
Give shout outs to our newest strangers, and those are Tina Bissonette, Adam Eldridge, Chris Palans, and my adorable student Emily Shong.
What's up, Emily?
She gave us stuff to try on the next
Ooh.
episode taste test.
Okay.
Yeah. Among like candies and
Oh,
stuff
cool.
like that. And I left them locked in my desk and forgot about them. So we will try those next time.
Lock your desk.
I lock my desk. There's students in our room all the time, and
I
they
suppose.
knew where my Skittle bag was. So
Skittle bag.
Bouncing off the walls.
yeah,
all
so
day.
I had to lock my desk.
And I'm sorry,
But-
I forgot to say, if you don't want to sit through this,
we forget this. Emily,
need to
thank
have
you so
something
much.
right behind
Emily,
you.
thank you for the candy and stuff so much. You are awesome, and I adore you. There you go.
yeah, if you don't want to listen to this part, like the taste test is coming up, just check the show notes. You can skip ahead to the topic.
Yep.
I need to have something literally right behind your head that says mention this.
Should. Kory
I'm
can stand back
talking
there with
about
like
it.
cue cards.
I figure with the 5 producers over there and the sound engineers, somebody would at least.
No, they're
you know,
busy. They're busy with the producing and the
guess.
sound.
The
I
sound
guess.
stuff.
The sound stuff. All I have for housekeeping is end of the season stuff. And we
I don't
just
have
mentioned
any
that.
housekeeping. That I'm
We're
aware
going
of.
to start hitting you guys up next time for more listener stories because that is going to be our season finale this season.
And we've been getting some.
Yeah.
Start
lately.
of season 5.
6.
6?
The 6?
It's going to be season 6.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's crazy to
It
think.
is crazy to think.
We started in 2017.
Yeah. Dang. And I
It
sent you the
is.
picture of
and
the
I think
school.
we must have done 2 seasons in 1 year because we're like ahead season wise.
Yeah.
Because we've only
The first
been-
season we only did like I think 15 episodes, so
Yeah.
but I sent you a picture of the school yesterday that it was just full of cars again, so the cadets are still there.
I do not miss that at
No.
all.
Kory and I were talking about that on the drive down here.
Yeah.
That it's a good thing we probably got out of there.
Heck yeah.
I
I
we
need
have
to
any
clean
other-
this room up though and order new chairs and a laptop.
Do we have any other housekeeping?
I don't think so.
Strangers guy on YouTube, contact us if you hear this because we kind of want to know if that was a listener or. I mean, granted, Strangers and Stay Strange isn't super unique, so
No.
you could.
And
just-
I said it, I told Kurt, because this is just how we are. I'd do a collaboration with the dude and get him more viewers and we get more
Yeah.
listeners. Like, I'm never going to hate on anybody for something like that.
no.
Well, there was also an issue early on with the movie The Strangers, right? Where you thought you were getting some followers.
No, there was
or-
another website, but it was like a serious.
another
It was like a
group.
serious group about. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was about, racism or it
Yeah,
was
like
about
a support
something.
group or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
thought it was like a movie, The Strangers. or
No, it
something
was like a
that.
support group for
I mean, I'm
something.
sure
and
we've had that too.
It was a support group for something. Then all of a sudden they come in. We accept them, and then there's all pickle stuff, and they're like, "Why is so much pickle stuff on this wall?"
Well, which
So-
is why we have questions.
Yeah.
And when they say yes to all 3 questions, we're
Which
like,
we get.
No.
We get a lot of ones that's just yes, yes, yes. I'm like, yeah, probably not let that person in.
No.
Or make them a
No,
moderator
no.
right away. You're a new moderator.
Yes.
Do we want to jump right into the package? Open the package first?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to need.
While Krista's opening the package, should Kory enjoy a Dundersalt?
I don't know about enjoy.
Kory is going to try the Dundersalt. And like I said, you might not think it's that bad because Krista and I just didn't know what to
We were
expect.
not prepared.
There you go, just pop it.
God, here
All
we
right. That's not good.
No.
go. Kurt and I were practically puking, and Corey's like, "It's not good." I told you his.
And I kept thinking-
I mean,
I
his
kept-
face is priceless.
I kept
but
thinking we should have maybe took video. I kept thinking
we
it.
spit it out like.
I kept
5
thinking it was
seconds
going to get
ago.
better, and it just never got better.
No.
How long did you keep it in?
maybe
it was
maybe
gone.
about as long as you did now, and then I finally gave up
We
on
kept
it.
kind of taking it out and putting it back in because we were like, "Is it as bad?" No, it's terrible. Yeah,
I don't even really know
How to
like,
describe it? There is no way to describe
like
that.
weirdly salty, and it burns your tongue kind of, and it's
There
just
is
awful.
absolutely nothing that tastes like this.
No,
there isn't.
It's indescribable.
It does get better.
Does it?
Yes.
Really? So we didn't get past the horrible layer. There's like a good layer.
I don't know if I say good.
It's a different layer. Is it more like licoricey? You really can't describe it.
Brave.
No. I'm trying to think what it would be like.
I know Eric from Norway was like,
They have
"It's
the
like
people
one
in
of my
Norway
favorite
love it.
Candies.
That's like a huge candy in Norway.
Yeah, maybe like a black licorice flavor, but like a burnt.
Burnt black licorice flavor.
That you're not selling me on it, Kory.
Once the initial salt flavor is gone, it's pretty easy to eat.
Is it?
But the taste, it's impossible to describe.
Yeah.
We could make it past the salt layer.
Yeah, I didn't make it past.
Because
I
it tastes
tried.
like something you put in your toilet to dissolve like mildew and
Rust
stuff.
and mildew. That's probably what they're doing is sending us like toilet tank tablets and we're eating them.
Like Tide Pods. Yeah, I have absolutely.
Corey's he's a trooper though. He is doing it.
My
It's not
goodness.
good.
It's not
not
good.
good.
I'm not saying I won't have another one today, but
Dang. Maybe for the if we were going to do a Christmas episode, maybe I'll try another one and see if I can last longer.
Hypothetically.
Maybe I'll see if I can last longer. It'd be a Christmas miracle.
It would be.
black licorice mixed with bad syrup, like moldy syrup.
Oh.
That's not a
Burnt black
that is
licorice.
probably
Yeah,
not
burnt
a
black licorice and maybe like a year past due syrup.
It's probably not a slogan they should go with
No.
for that product. But
Not,
kudos to you
it's
for
not good.
it's not good. Kudos to you for sticking it out.
Yeah, the end is like a pancake syrup, but
Okay,
like a
I'm gonna try one
maybe like a
during our
Dollar Tree version
for our hypothetical
Christmas
Christmas
episode.
episode.
That
Now
may
that
or
I
may
know,
not happen.
now that I know it gets easier, we'll try it. Good job.
Perseverance. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
This is our package from listener Roland.
So there's a postcard in here.
Oh, you want me to read that?
Yep. Let me take a picture. Oop.
Corey's going to town on his Thunder Salt.
got to the very end. It tastes like a butterscotch disc.
That's so
Oh, see, I could
weird.
be okay with that. I love butterscotch.
Krista and Kurt, my wife and I just celebrated our honeymoon in Positano, a city.
Positano.
Positano,
Oh,
a city on
Italy.
Italy's Amalfi Coast.
I wonder if they
So
went,
jealous.
Krista is super jealous.
I wonder
No
if they
idea.
went past like I don't know the Vatican.
Maybe they went past the Vatican? Wonder how that would tie into this episode. I knew while out here that I would have to grab y'all some snacks and a postcard as a thanks for all the hard work you do. Well, thank you. Your podcast is a particular type of comfort and community that I love being a part of. Postcards don't have much room on them, but I hope you enjoy the sentiment and candy. From Roland. Thank you so much,
That-
Roland.
I can't believe I'm about to eat something directly from Italy.
Krista
Greece
got
is my
so-
first bucket list. Italy is my second bucket list. And by
I
the
love
way,
that postcard, too.
Yeah.
I love that postcard.
that's
Sure.
the Amalfi Coast.
bottle of wine in that package.
Yeah,
That'd be
right?
nice.
That's cool.
And Roland, by the way, was named after Roland of the Dark Tower book series by Stephen King, which we're
Both
huge
Krista and I
fans of.
love.
Yes. Okay, ready? Ready to see
Thank you
what's in
so
here?
much for the postcard, Roland. And what do we got?
Hard candy, Kurt.
I for listeners that don't know, I broke a tooth this week eating trail mix.
So, Italy is known for its lemons because the climate there is just like, and they have these lemons there that are like the size of grapefruits.
I definitely want to try one of those because
Yeah.
I love anything
So
lemon.
this is a Positano lemon flavored candy.
Nice.
So I'll take a picture of this bag.
Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do the Norwegian candy, or are we gonna do the Mexican candy?
Can we do Norwegian?
If Corey's here, let's do
I'm
Mexican.
just so tired of tomato spicy flavored
If
candy.
Corey's here, let's do Mexican.
Fine, we can.
We'll do Norwegian for our if we ever do a Christmas episode this season. We'll
Hypothetical.
do hypothetical. We'll
Hypothetically.
do Norwegian for the Christmas.
Okay, I'll take that one.
Dagger.
Our ceremonial dagger.
Yes.
Yeah, for listeners, I broke a tooth this week, and I was super upset and annoyed about it. Eating trail mix, I bit down on an almond and cracked a tooth. So,
And now he needs a crown.
and now I need a crown
So you're gonna be
with
like
money
a king.
that I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to come up with. But
Do you have dental insurance?
yes, and I'm
But
not sure. We're going to
there's
see
like
how
a
that
copay,
goes.
right?
Corey's gonna. Did you already eat it?
I'm still working on the Dunder salt.
He's still taking the Thunder Salt down.
Do you need like a palate cleanser?
I got a Red Bull. That'll work.
I'm taking a picture of the
That is a hefty candy. That's like a thick candy.
This might take us a while. Okay.
You ready?
You
It's
know me,
gonna
I'm
be good.
struggling
Like,
to
I
get-
love
Well,
lemon.
mine actually kind of cracked in half, so this is good. Yeah, I love lemon
I
too.
love lemon stuff.
Me too.
Ready?
Oh, it smells very lemony.
Mm-hmm.
Has an interesting texture. It's like really smooth.
Yeah. It's.
I just drooled a little.
She did just drool a little.
Wow, it's really lemony.
But it's really good.
Yeah, it is really good. I
Like-
wonder if it's like actual like lemon.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
record the
If only I were
Mexican
fluent
candy.
in Italian.
Oh, we're videotape.
What? We forgot to videotape something?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we'll record
guess
the
we
Mexican
will.
candy.
Well, I'm still struggling to figure out how we're going to get all three of us on video, but we'll work it
I'll
out.
go in the background.
I said I'll opt out.
No.
Nobody
No.
wants to see this.
Nope.
Yes,
I'll,
we do.
I'll go in the background.
Okay.
This is a really good lemon candy. Like, it can be hit or miss with lemon candy, but I love lemony things.
So the outside of the candy almost was a little more sour, and as you go in, it's sweeter.
This is good. I like lemon Starbursts, even though most people don't. The yellow ones, I like them.
I'm not really into Starburst, but I get it. I like the pink ones, though.
Everybody likes pink ones.
I'm going to crunch it.
I'm not going to crunch it. I already busted a tooth.
Sorry, listeners. This is annoying.
I'm just going to keep sucking.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, so many. So many jokes.
So many levels. So, Mexican candy?
Yeah.
I really,
And then I will
really
get the camera set up.
wanted to try that sucker you guys had.
No, you did
Because I was talking to Kurt. To me, the way you guys described it made it sound like it was going to be like a Bloody Mary.
No.
No. And the sad part is there was another layer of flavor underneath, but we just couldn't. It was like the Dunder salt. We couldn't get to it because it was just so disgusting. I just don't understand why everything's tomato flavored. Candy shouldn't taste like tomatoes. Or they're just using the word candy very loosely.
Ooh,
in my
did you get a
opinion.
fizz when you bit into yours?
No.
I just got a fizz.
But I didn't. Oh, look it. There's
Yep.
a center that I didn't get
Yep.
to. Well, dang. I'm going to take a picture of that. Oh.
My lemon candy had like a hole in it, and then all of a sudden the fizz just came out.
So maybe you kind of have to bite into it. Now I want to taste
Yeah.
the fizz.
Kurt, did you get the fizz in your lemon?
Not yet.
Oh. Ooh. Wow.
Kory,
That's crazy.
hopefully you're okay with this.
And it's very sour.
Hopefully you are okay with this.
Oh, I got to remember to clean up so we don't get ants.
All right, I
in
got to
it.
take my lemony sucker out because we're going to do this one now. Do you want the
I feel very
camera? Yeah. Hopefully you're okay with this. I spared Krista and I think. We'll see.
I believe we're recording.
I think we are.
Isn't there usually something that like flashes though?
Usually that blue light flashes.
Okay, there's a blue light back here.
Okay, I think we're probably good. We'll figure this out.
Amateurs.
We have Pulparindo. It's a candy. There is one that is labeled extra picante. So Kory's going to get the extra picante.
Do you like spicy stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you and I think, aren't picante.
I'm picante.
We
Kory's-
tasted this already,
Kory's
right?
muy picante.
Muy.
I don't know if we've tasted these yet or not. It's tamarind flavored, and I love tamarind flavored stuff.
I'm making a face.
No, tamarind flavored stuff is good.
Okay.
Tamarind. Oh no, I'm confusing that with lychee candy.
Wow.
Or
Those
lychee.
words aren't even remotely similar.
No.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. No, but yes.
Kory gets the picante.
Muy.
Muy.
Muy picante.
I feel like
Extra
we've
picante.
tasted something at least named
Like
very
this.
similar to this.
Are you ready?
No. You just keep saying no.
Are we gonna sniff it?
Yes.
Oh, this doesn't smell
It's a
promising.
weird tomatoey scent again.
Yeah, it doesn't smell promising.
They grow a lot of tomatoes in Mexico.
Muy spicy, and I can't even open it.
It's so spicy.
That's
I
a
can't
sign. The universe is saying, don't eat it,
It's so
Kory.
spicy, I can't even open it.
I guess I should take a picture of that.
It just smells like my finger. I don't even know.
Um,
I don't even
I'm
know what
just
to
gonna
go
leave
with.
that
Where to
alone.
go with that?
Oh, it's like halfway melted into the
Oh.
plastic. There we go.
You ready?
It was so hot it melted the stuff around it.
Ready?
1, Oh, that's not bad. Oh, okay. It's got a funky little aftertaste.
It started off cherry.
I can't really explain it. Everything has like this weird savory tomatoey note to it. Like I get a fruit.
I know
note.
what tamarind tastes like, and this tastes like tamarind, but it does have that weird. It has that weird.
It's like the same note in all of the candy that
Yeah.
I can't really place that I call tomatoey, but it could just be this like an
You're
acidic flavor.
Oh, I just got a weird mouth thing from
Can't
it.
wait.
Spice is starting to kick in.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did we taste spicy ones?
I don't like this.
Have we liked any of the Mexican candy?
I think maybe one.
I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you for sending us the candy.
Dominique. Thank you, Dominique.
I'm sorry that we hate all of it.
Yeah, this is a weird. Like, I like the taste of tamarind.
Like,
but
I don't need to spit it out bad, but.
no, but it's not something that I'm enjoying a lot.
It's
So, like, the soft outer part is going away, and now it's getting to, like,
But it's like a weird spiciness to it. I'm getting like a weird spiciness now.
like on the tip of your tongue.
Like in the back of my throat, I'm getting like a weird.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm getting that.
Yeah.
if you took a cherry and dipped it in like pizza sauce and threw some like Frank's Red Hot.
That is not a selling point.
You're onto something, though, because I feel like hot sauce has that tangy note to it, and this has that tangy.
Why is it spicy? It's like this is hurting my throat a little bit now.
It is. It's burning my throat a little.
Wow.
Yours must be really hot. Well,
He's better.
I guess it's all like
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean,
if
we
you're
had
into hot stuff, which
I-
I do like spicy stuff.
we had
I
some
just bought hot
fettuccine
sauce.
Alfredo and
Oh.
put Frank's Red Hot on it. So
I need
yeah,
to finish
mean,
this and get
I
that
like
lemon
cream
candy.
sauce is spicy.
I need to get lemon candy back in my face hole because that one was good at least.
For being muy
Your
spicy,
face hole.
it's
Sorry, we're not even looking at the camera. This is not.
This is not good.
the one time I remember to turn it on and hit record.
I'm
we
not
look at
liking it.
I'm giving it a.
Ugh.
I'm giving it a sideways thumb.
giving it a thumbs up.
I'm giving it a thumbs down because it's burning my throat.
Well, we didn't even rate the lemon candy. I would rate the lemon candy like
A 9.
I'm giving it a 7.
I'll give it an 8.
All right. What would you give the Dunder salt?
Initially starting out, probably a 3 or 4. And then towards the end, it did taste like a butterscotch disc can of candy.
I don't
have
like
the patience to
I
get to the
c-
butterscotch.
Uh-uh.
I'm giving this.
I'm
First
done.
tapping out.
I'm tapping out on that one. It's burning my throat worse and worse. Not
I'm
everything.
giving this like a 6.
Not
I don't
everything
know, I'm
needs to
giving
be.
this like a 7. I
I don't
eat
hate
this.
it.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be burny. I don't like it. I'm giving that a 2.
Bernie. Is it harsh in your mellow?
It harshed my mellow and it.
Man.
And now my nose is running.
Better catch it.
I'm giving that a 2.
Okay. I have a
I'm
big
putting
mess
the
I need
lemon
to clean
back
up
in my
here.
mouth to cleanse my palate.
Okay.
Oh, if you have any extra muy spicy, I'll take them off your hands unless you want to keep them.
Well, maybe we'll try another one from there for our alleged Christmas episode.
I just don't feel like recording a Christmas episode.
Should we skip it?
Okay, are we done with the taste test?
Yeah.
Bye.
Yuck.
No. The SD card is probably in my computer.
So there is no video again.
right here.
Yep. There's no video again.
I could always record it for the supposed
my God.
hypothetical
Christmas episode.
Christmas
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Oh, now I got the fizz. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sour when it comes in.
Oh my God, that is. I don't know if I'm a fan of
Ugh.
that either.
Okay, I'm taking this
I'm
out.
still liking this. Muy fuego.
Yuck. Too spicy.
I hope that people like us for our imperfections and the fact that
I hope so.
can't take a video to save my life.
Let's jump right in then.
Okay.
So today is a mini mystery.
Sorry, Kory just spit his thing into his.
Today's mini mystery, because I talked about Fatima last time. We are sticking with that for my part of this story, but we decided to just do a Vatican episode, a Vatican mini mystery. So Kory came on to tell us some Vatican stuff.
He's gonna learn us on the Vatican.
All right, well, Vatican City is an independent city-state and enclave located within Rome, Italy. The Vatican city-state, simply known as the Vatican from now on, became independent from Italy with the Lateran Treaty of 1929, and it itself is a distinct territory. It's a sovereign entity of international law, which maintains that the city's spiritual independence, diplomatic independence.
Oh, I'm sorry. This
Kurt's
is
having
so,
a really bad
this
reaction
is so
to the
sour.
lemon
I'm
candy.
dying over here. Oh my
Did you
god.
did you get to the center?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I can't even do that either.
Can't have anything spicy, and you can't
Or
have anything
sour.
Or
Oh my
fizzy.
god, that was sour. I'm just gonna taste test saltines.
Kurt's tapped it out.
Oh, that was super
Saltine.
sour. My poor mouth. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Basically, it's just saying it's independent from all of Rome and Italy's laws. It's an area of 121 acres, and it only has a population that fluctuates between 825 and 1,000. It's the smallest city-state in the world, both by area and population.
So is that like private citizens or just people who live and work?
Basically,
Within
it's
the
for like the
Vatican.
papacy and
Okay.
the Swiss Guard that guard it and all that stuff.
Okay.
But there are some, year-long
Probably, like-
residents.
It's just weird that it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Area-wise, it's the size of Central Park in New York, if anybody's ever been there or saw a map of it. It's not very big. It's governed by what they call the Holy See, S-E-E. It's the Vatican City-State, and it's an ecclesiastical, or, here comes, sacerdotal monarchical state, which is a
Dang.
type of theocracy, ruled by the Pope, who is the Bishop of Rome and the head of the Catholic Church.
I didn't know the Pope was also a bishop.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to be a bishop,
to be
a
the Pope.
Okay.
The highest state functionaries are all Catholic clergy of various national origins. After the Avignon papacy of 1309 to 1437, the popes have mainly resided at the Apostolic Palace within what is now the Vatican City, although at times residing instead in the Quirinal Palace in Rome or sometimes elsewhere.
I have some of these words in mind too. So
The Vatican Apostolic Archive, known until October 2019 as the Vatican Secret Archive, but secret is a mistranslation. It's actually supposed to kind of mean private.
Okay.
So we think that's maybe where a lot of this secret stuff started to happen.
But
where,
but once that word comes out, people are
then
like,
people
oh,
start
what's
thinking secret. It's
secret?
actually kind of a mistranslation of private. It's the central repository in the Vatican City of all acts promulgated by the Holy See. The Pope, as sovereign of Vatican City, owns the material held in the archive until his death or resignation, with ownership passing to his successor.
That's weird that he actually owns that stuff.
Yep. The archive also contains state papers, correspondence, account books, and many other documents that the Church has accumulated over the centuries.
It's like he's the president of a tiny country.
Yeah, basically,
Basically,
that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
In the 17th century, under the orders of Pope Paul V, the secret archive was separated from the Vatican Library, where scholars had some very limited access and remained closed to outsiders until the late 19th century, when Pope Leo XIII opened the archive to researchers, more than 1,000 of whom now examine some of its documents each year. In the last few years, the archive has been open a few times. In 2002, Pope John Paul II allowed scholars access to documents from the historical archives of the Secretariat of State pertaining to the Holy See's relations with Germany during the pontification of Pope Pius XI in order to put, quote, an end to unjust and thoughtless speculation, unquote, about the Church's relationship with the Nazi Party.
Don't.
Following
I did not see that coming.
No. Following the success of the 2008 film Angels and Demons, adapted from the Dan Brown novel of the same name, which depicts a visit to the archive, the Vatican opened the archives to a select group of journalists in 2010 to dispute the film's treatment of the Vatican. In 2018, Pope Francis ordered the Vatican archive to open documents which would assist in a thorough study concerning former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, who was accused of sexually molesting seminarians and having affairs with young priests.
Oh boy.
Pope Francis announced on the 4th of March 2019 that materials related to Pope Pius XII would be opened on the 2nd of March 2020, stating that some prejudice or exaggeration about his legacy will need to be debated and even criticized, and that, quote, the Church is not afraid of history, unquote. And he anticipated appropriate criticism. In addition to assessing Pius's response to the Holocaust, In 2006, members of the archives department have been organizing the estimated 16 million pages of documents in order to prepare them for viewing by researchers.
That's a lot of pages of documents.
Right, and this is all like hard copies. It's not like
yeah.
this is in some kind of computer database somewhere. Wow. Don't mind me if I'm taking pictures throughout.
The Vatican Apostolic Archive has been estimated to contain 53 miles of shelving,
Holy cow.
with 35,000 volumes in the selective catalog alone spanning 12 centuries. So 53 miles for us Wisconsinites is about from downtown to Sheboygan to about downtown Milwaukee, or give or take a 45 to 50-minute drive, or if Kurt's driving, about 2 hours.
So that's a lot of shelving. Holy buckets.
And how many people were going to do this?
They allow 60 people in a year, I think.
I can just see all the bishops rushing around hiding all the top secret stuff that we're not supposed to know about.
Shoving stuff under
Shoving
their
stuff
robes.
under their robes.
Under floorboards.
Oh, here we go. Qualified scholars from institutions of higher education pursuing scientific research with an adequate knowledge of archival research may apply for an entry card. Scholars need an introductory letter from either a recognized institute of research or a suitably qualified person in their field for historical research.
I'm guessing the strange session's wanting to come
I
in
don't
and
think we're gonna cut
look
it.
at stuff.
No.
That's not going to cut it.
You can't even handle lemon candy.
Yeah,
You're
I
not gonna be
dropped
able
my
to get in
lemon
there.
rating down from an 8 to a 4 because that was just way too sour. The fizz was
The
cool.
Fizzy Center.
The fizzy center.
Applicants need to provide their personal data, like name, address, and all that, as well as the purpose of their research. Only 60 researchers per day are allowed inside.
Per day.
Per day.
So you could have 60 different people every day?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with limited exceptions, material dated after 1939 were unavailable to researchers until the 2nd of March 2020, when material from Pope Pius XII's tenure, 1939 to 1958, were opened. An entire section of the archives relating to the personal affairs of cardinals from 1922 onwards cannot be accessed, ever.
Wow.
I don't know why the
That's a little sketchy.
What kind
cardinals...
of personal affairs? Are we talking about like...
I don't know if they write journals or everything that gets signed gets a copy and gets thrown into an archives. But I'm basically looking at it like a library where there's shelves on numerous sides.
Yeah.
And they're all cataloged. And it's like old manuscripts, old books. I know they talk, or I'll be talking about it later, about like whether they have chalices or, gold
like
crosses.
actual artifacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that stuff's also in there as well. So then this goes into the possible list of all these quote-unquote secret things that may be in there.
And there's a lot of stuff that comes up. This Vatican having, they
Buried.
always talk about like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they wheel the Ark into that huge warehouse and seal it up, and the people say that's kind of what they feel like the Vatican is like. Like it has all these things.
Mm-hmm. The Ark of the Covenant and like all kinds of
like
stuff.
the Spear of Longinus.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yep. The Spear of Destiny. Hitler was looking for that supposedly.
So one thing that's supposed to be in there is something called a Chronovisor. I guess
This was one thing that I stumbled across researching another topic, and I was like, "This is nuts! I'm going to have to save that for a future one." So
probably just end up saying Chronovisor all the time. So I'll just go with that. If that's not the way it is,
I'd say Chronovisor too.
all right, Chronovisor. It's said to be a device that gives the user the ability to see through time. It's made of cathode.
Krista just was
Okay,
like,
I was not expecting that.
It's made of cathode rays, antenna, and metals that receive sound and light signals on all wavelengths.
It's like a TV from the 70s, basically.
The Chronovisor purportedly allows the team of scientists to document events of the past, including the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The machine, therefore, could validate the teachings of the Bible simply by providing a first-hand look into the past. Through its existence of providing a first-hand look into the past, the Chronovisor has never been proven. And a 2002 book by the Vatican priest Father Francois Brunet, titled Le Nouveau Mystery du Vatican, says otherwise. According to Brunet, the Chronovisor was developed by Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk. Ernetti allegedly kept the device secret until the early 1960s, when he confided in Brunet and told him that 12 scientists, including famed physicist Enrico Fermi and former Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, helped him to build it. Bruni explains how he met Father Ernetti on a boat ride across Venice's Grand Canal in the early 1960s. Like Bruni, Ernetti was well versed in the history of languages, which made for a natural conversation. But soon, Ernetti directed their chat towards science. According to Ernetti, the device had several antennae, 3 of which were made with quote-unquote mysterious metals that picked up sound and light waves across from the entire respective spectrums. A direction finder on the device was a screen that allegedly was tuned into a specific era that one wanted to view, and it displayed it, and a recording device captured the footage. So like, it's basically like a TV
That looks
with like a
through
VCR.
time. Yeah, that looks through time.
That looks through time and records it.
But how does it? What? Go on. I just have some questions about that.
So therefore, the Chronovisor was thus more of a window into the past than quote-unquote a time machine. Ernetti said it worked like a television, catching echoes from days long gone that had been quote-unquote floating in space, and he claimed to have seen some astonishing things. Ernetti recounted how he witnessed Marcus Tullius Cicero's speech to the Roman Senate in 63 BC, and he says, quote, his gestures, his intonation, how powerful they were, what flights of oratory, unquote.
So what time period are we talking about here that they're claiming this thing exists?
The
60s.
Okay.
Which I think would be right around the time where a lot of things like this started to come into view.
Like TVs and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But my question is, what are they seeing? Like
actual images? Are they like? Is it like watching?
Well, according
a
to
movie?
this, he saw Cicero's speech, so he's
Yeah, but
seeing
what is-
somebody
what
in
is-
front of,
shooting that you're seeing that,
just through the ether of time, he's able to pull it.
but it doesn't make sense because it's like, how do you see what's going on in this area and then see what's going on in that area? Like, how do you tune that? Like,
Oh, right.
you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
wanna
Like going
see
from like channel
Christ.
2 to channel 3.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how you focus it.
yeah.
That doesn't really go into a whole
This
lot
always
of
makes me
detail
think
on
of the
that.
show Fringe, where I don't want to give any super spoilers, but Walter Bishop has that thing that can see into the parallel universe, and that's what starts the whole chain off with him getting his son from the parallel universe. But that's what this reminds me of, is watching a screen where you're seeing into, instead of a parallel universe, it's in time, back
Does
in
it
time.
just randomly show you stuff, or can you
don't know.
choose what you want to see?
Yeah, like it says that it has 3 antennae made of mysterious metals, and it has like this directional finder that, I don't know, like I said, somehow it just pulls out
Stuff
whatever
floating
from,
around in space.
from the ether, and he's able to focus it. I don't know. Ernetti made additional, increasingly bolder claims, such as having observed the actual crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and then from the founding of the Roman Empire to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Ernetti alleged that he and his team were able to take a peek into some of the most important events in the Bible. On May 2nd, 1972, an Italian publication called La Domenica dei Corriere published his claim titled, quote, a machine that photographs the past has finally been invented. The article covered Ernetti's shocking statements for all of Italy to read. Alongside the claims, the magazine published an alleged photograph from the Chronovisor that Ernetti claimed captured the Romans crucifying Jesus Christ.
I've seen some pictures online
Yeah.
of supposed.
Yeah, I looked
What
at a
does it
couple
look
of them
like?
too.
Like a TV with.
It's like a grainy B-grade movie set kind of thing. I don't know how he would have faked it.
Chronovisor images.
This is reminding me of the episode. Interesting. What is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Jesus?
being led to the crucifixion. And this is Jesus on the cross.
Well, that's morbid.
Yeah. We'll maybe post those in the group.
Weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, they claim to capture the Romans crucifying Jesus Christ, which is the picture that Kurt just showed us. The 1972 article also purported to have witnessed the Last Supper and kept a photograph of the biblical event for himself as a souvenir. Ernetti maintained until his death in 1994 that the machine had been hidden away by the Vatican in order to safeguard it from falling into the wrong hands. Interestingly, the Vatican decreed in 1988 that, quote, anyone using an instrument of such characteristics would be excommunicated, unquote.
Wow.
And then shortly before he died, Erneni wrote an open letter adamantly reiterating that the device was real. He claimed that Pope Pius X forbade us to disclose any details about this device because the machine was very dangerous and it can restrain any freedom of man.
Dang.
That's an interesting idea, though, because if it really shows what really truly happened, I guess that if the narrative is false in the Bible or whatever the case may be, or whatever you're trying to look at, it could destroy a lot of ideas. And
that's one of the theories about people think that's why Vatican hides stuff, is because it shows
would shed light on the truth.
It sheds light on the truth that
we
what
don't
the
want.
Bible says didn't really happen.
And that's one of the other things I get to is being able, they have enough things in the Vatican archive to show or disprove that Jesus Christ actually existed, or all the things leading up to the Bible actually happened or not.
And that's one of the theories about this. The Chronovision, I don't remember what I was looking at when I stumbled across that, and I'm like, this is just nuts. Like, I'd never heard anything about that before, but it's when you type the Chronovisor, Chronovision in your Google, all that stuff comes up about this so-called TV.
It does sound like a brand of television from like the 60s.
And at the end, when we get into what we think, I'll be able to bring some more information into it. So.
Okay.
The next thing supposedly hidden in the Vatican is the Grand Grimoire.
This was one I threw at you the first time because I thought about doing a mini mystery in the Grand Grimoire myself.
It's sometimes referred to as the Red Dragon or the Gospel of Satan. It's a medieval grimoire believed to possess immense powers. According to legend, it was written by an apocryphal figure by the name of Honorius of Thebes, who is claimed to have been possessed by Satan himself.
I'm guessing Hitler wanted to get his hands on that one.
Probably. I don't think he wants anything that was in there.
Right.
It's said to be one of the most potent occult books in existence and contains instructions for the summoning of demons. The grimoire is often said to have been written during the 16th century, and then during the 18th century, there was a cheap grimoire boom. Everybody was making these grimoires in France.
Of course.
And a version of the Grand Grimoire was produced and then published in the following century. The original Grand Grimoire, or a copy thereof, however, is still said to be kept in the Vatican archives and is not currently or will ever be available to the public. While the exact origin of the word grimoire is still being debated, it is generally accepted today that it's derived from the Old French word grammaire, and this word, which literally translates to grammar, was used as a reference to books in general, especially those that were written in Latin. Over time, however, the meaning of the term evolved and eventually became associated with the occult. Therefore, the word grimoire is today the name given to textbooks used in any occult.
I just remember from like Magic the Gathering cards.
Yep. The contents of such grimoires normally provide its users with instructions for the creation of magical amulets and talismans, instructions for the casting of magic spells, and even rituals for the summoning of supernatural beings such as angels and demons. The work is divided into 2 books. The first book contains instructions for summoning a demon and for the construction of tools for which to force the demon to do your bidding. The second book is further divided into 2 parts, the Sanctum Regnum and the second part, Secrets. One of the instructions that would supposedly allow a person to summon Lucifer. And then one of the instruments required for the ritual is called a blasting rod, which would be used to smite Lucifer into submission once he is evoked. After this...
That is some serious
Talk about
business.
Playing with fire.
That is some serious business there.
And after this, a deal with the devil may be made. Amongst other things, the person conducting these rituals would require a stone called a emetilier, and 2 blessed candles.
Grayson and I have to look for one of those.
There you go.
At the crystal store next time.
And then once you have both of these, they would be used to form a triangle of pacts so that he or she may be protected from the spirits that have been summoned.
Dang.
It almost sounds like a book of shadows, which is it contains rituals.
But
and
are you done kind of with the grimoire stuff?
Yeah.
I remember seeing like people saying that they've seen like they've actually held the original. Like I don't want to say Marilyn Manson but like famous rock stars or famous occultists like Aleister Crowley or whatever. But I remember hearing people say that they've gotten glimpses of the actual original.
Where?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like if there was that big grimoire boom in France in whatever century it was, I'm sure there's a bunch that,
Probably
Well, and
are
that-
hundreds of years old
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, but
maybe
who
not
knows?
the
Maybe
original.
if there is an original one, maybe there
Yeah.
are some original ones floating around that were made during the Grimoire boom.
No, and to me, thinking about it in any kind of movie or TV show, I'm expecting a real thick, like leather-bound black book with
Or
these
red.
old pages.
I always think red. I always think red
Yeah.
with like a
Yeah.
face,
Red.
like a contorted face-looking thing on the
Yeah.
front, like in
And
the
then,
Evil
like,
Dead movies or
gold or
whatever.
silver hinges.
Yeah,
And
like
it takes
something
some
straight
kind
out of Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's the way I
Pretty
look
much.
at it. I mean, and you could see if that would be something that actually does exist. They definitely won't want.
there's a lot of like when I was looking this, like both of these things that you've mentioned so far, I've looked into a little bit, and there's a lot of people that do think this one might really exist.
Yeah, when
You
I
know,
was-
but it doesn't. Can you actually summon Lucifer with it? I don't
According
know,
to
but-
this?
but the
I just
blasting.
feel like Lucifer's somebody that you can't tell what to do.
Well, if you got a blasting rod,
If
apparently
he's an
you can.
actual thing, I don't know.
Yeah, if you got a blasting
Yeah.
rod and force him into submission,
I mean,
This makes me think of like the Illuminati. If
it makes
that's
me think
a
of the
thing,
show Supernatural. That's what it makes me think of.
like if the Illuminati is a thing, the people in that elite group may have had the opportunity to view something like. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
when I first started looking into it, I thought they were kind of confusing it with the Necromonon.
yeah,
or-
Necromonicon.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I
That's a
thought maybe they
mouthful.
were just the same thing with different titles, but they're apparently two different things.
Well, that's like summoning the dead. Well, necromancy
Evil
is
Dead. I
summoning
think
the
that was one of the
dead.
Evil Dead
Okay.
movies.
Yeah.
But no, this one you could supposedly summon Lucifer. That this is how you would summon Lucifer was with the Grand
Yeah, it sounds like you
Grimoire.
can do like smaller versions of angels and demons, and you can do, so it doesn't have to be the big guy right off the bat.
The big guy.
Dang. Okay.
All right, some of the other things that supposedly are in the Vatican archives.
Which one of them is going to be mine that I'm going to be talking about after
Yep,
yours?
I specifically missed that one.
Did you? Okay.
Notes and books related to exorcisms. While in the age of modern psychology and neuroscience, it would be easy to dismiss exorcism as something from the Middle Ages and horror movies. The truth is the practice is alive and well within the Catholic Church. In fact, Father Gabriel Amorth, the former chief exorcist of the Vatican who died only in 2016, claimed to have performed a staggering 130,000 exorcisms in his time.
Dang, that's a lot of
130,000.
exorcisms.
Especially when you
130,000.
think about like you have to meet like really big strict requirements
Yeah.
to qualify for an exorcism,
Yep.
and that one person did 130,000. That many people have been possessed.
But you would think you would know someone personally who was exorcised. And
Yeah,
if that many people
130,000.
were,
I
yeah.
wonder how many didn't go well.
I don't know.
Well, and that's just one person who can do exorcisms. There's other,
Yeah.
how many? I don't know. That's crazy. That's shocking to me.
As further evidence casting out demons isn't just a thing of the past, the BBC reports in 2018 that the Vatican welcomed 250 priests from around the world to an annual exorcism school because the church believes that there has been an uptick in demonic possessions in the recent years.
I remember coming across that fact in
So
our.
yeah, they invited 250, so it's not just that one dude that was out there
Yeah.
getting a call every time.
Yep.
Even Pope Francis himself said people, quote, must not hesitate, unquote, to see an exorcist in the case of general spiritual disturbances, unquote. Despite the controversy tied to the exorcisms due to its sensational nature and claims of abuse in their execution, such rites have been carried out even by popes in modern times. According to Father Amorth, John Paul II tried and failed to drive a demon out of a woman who was brought before him in St. Peter's Square screaming, writhing, and drooling in the year 2000. Father Amorth claims this woman was still possessed when he saw her later in the day, as evidenced by her ability to walk up the wall like Spider-Man.
That'll do it.
Nope.
And so he had to finish off what John Paul II couldn't. Likewise, Father Amorth claimed that Benedict XIV slammed the devil out of two guys in 2009.
Like
And
body slammed?
Power slammed, choke
Choke
slam.
slammed, right?
Like
Choke
off
slammed
the
the devil.
corner.
Off the corner rope.
And there is enough evidence to suspect that Pope Francis may have performed a public exorcism on a man in a wheelchair in 2013.
Wow, a public exorcism?
Yep.
It just seems to go against so much what you hear about
Yeah.
exorcisms.
Wow.
That's it for exorcisms. So I thought that it was something that you kind of see in like the movies where they call a guy, but it sounds like there's
They
lot of them.
legitimately do this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
They try to rule mental health is like the first thing they try to rule out first. Thing they try to rule out first. I feel like I thought exorcisms were rare because, I mean, they will not do one unless they can absolutely prove that everything else has been ruled out.
Yeah,
so
that
it's
you're not
really
just
shocking
nuts.
to me.
Yeah.
And it's something that happens behind closed doors.
But
not
I
out
could
in
understand
public.
why they'd want to keep it secret. They
Right.
don't want people knowing how
How
easy
to
it is
do
to
it.
how you do it or how
Well,
easy it is to get
I imagine
possessed.
it would be a very dangerous thing
Yeah.
too.
I keep thinking of, was it Constantine, the movie? With,
Yeah.
I think he was.
Keanu.
Yeah, Keanu. I think he was the one doing something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Like he wasn't qualified for it.
what I don't remember exactly like
That's
the
an
plot,
old
but I
movie,
remember
yeah.
him like driving demons out, and I remember him like the beginning of the movie. He goes to an exorcism, like he performs it, and then like the demon runs out a window or something like that, and it's just crazy to think that if they're going to make that many movies and shows about exorcisms, that there has to be enough proof, and
Yeah.
it happens to
Yeah.
happen enough that
I
it's
think it
out there in the
happens more
public
often than people
consciousness.
realize, but I think
Yeah.
it's not publicized.
And I could see why they would hold on to this information.
Yeah.
That
Oh yeah, I could too.
I'm sure they're keeping notes, or somebody's keeping notes, and you thought, okay, this is something that stopped in the 1600s or 1700s.
Yeah.
Oh
but
no, yeah.
they're still doing it up until about a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing would be religious artifacts, from the cross that Jesus Christ died on, to the Holy Grail, to the Ark of the Covenant, to Noah's Ark. Pretty much every single Christian artifact has been rumored to be stored somewhere within the Vatican secret archive. However, it has also been rumored that less well-known and bizarre religious artifacts are hidden away there as well. Some are so bizarre that it is unlikely that the common layperson has ever even heard of them. Some of the less weird ones are Jesus' foreskin,
Oh, I've heard about that.
the
I've
actual
heard that-
non-degraded body of Christ, or even the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion.
Yeah, I don't remember where I came across Jesus' foreskin, but that is supposedly something that they have. I don't know.
Why would you have that, or why would it even be
I don't know.
something you would take from him?
I don't know.
It's just, I mean,
But I did hear the crown of thorns too.
and you think about all the old school churches around there. Almost every church has some kind of piece of the cross, or
Yeah.
a rumored piece of the
Yeah.
cross,
Right,
or a rumored piece
yeah.
of the spear,
Or a rumored piece of a saint, even
Yeah.
something like that.
Hmm.
But
They should
like
do DNA testing, 23andMe, see if we're all like related.
we
to
should.
them.
But the spear, I know the spear was a big one. The spear that pierced Christ's side, that the spear of destiny that Hitler wanted, because you can supposedly rule, whoever has it can rule the world.
I mean, if you're a church too, it makes sense to say that you have something that's so sacred that
You don't wanna
people are going to want to come to your church, and when they come, they donate money.
Yeah.
Or if you say you have this, shin bone of Jesus,
Yep.
that
Toenail.
that's Jesus's big toenail, that you get parishioners, you get money,
Yeah.
and you can build up your church, and you get a following. So it's
Yeah, but then you
Sure.
gotta weigh that against not showing people this thing.
Right. They're not going to actually get to
No,
see the
because then
thing
they're gonna
that
start to
attracted
think that
them.
it's just a hoax.
or they're behind such glass that
Yeah.
it's only taken out once a year, or some
Yeah.
kind of special ceremony.
I also think, and I don't mean to say this in a negative way, people who would actually go to a church because of something like that are a little bit blinded by
There's
Religion.
their faith.
So,
Yeah.
so believers.
Yeah,
that,
they
Yeah.
want to believe so badly. They don't really.
Yep.
They look away when things don't add up. Maybe.
All right. The next thing is the bones of St. Peter. In 1939, 9 separate pieces of bone were found under St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world, and the center of the Vatican City state. Even more surprisingly, the bones have been said to have been found in an unassuming, humble shoebox. In 2013, Pope Francis presented the bones to the public in a Sunday service before locking them away again. They have not been seen in the public since. No one knows if they are really the bones of St. Peter. Scholars and skeptics are, skeptical. However, instead of showing the bones publicly or allowing scholars to test their claims, the Vatican has locked them away from any further public viewings. The Vatican claims that this is because of a supposed 1,000-year-old curse for those who disturb the peace of St. Peter's tomb. But skeptics believe this is just merely an excuse.
Sure. Tell anybody something's cursed and they're not going to go looking
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah,
right?
and that goes along with what we said before with having bones,
Yeah.
and whether it's from a saint or just whatever is going to get people to come to your church. Another thing is the secular historical proof of Jesus' existence or non-existence. Allegedly, somewhere deep within the Vatican secret archive, there is evidence of either Jesus' existence or the lack thereof. Supposedly, inside the Vatican's archive, there is a recorded conversation between an Emperor Nero of Rome and St. Paul the disciple, transcribed in some form. If this is true, then potentially, depending on the conversation's contents, it could theoretically either undeniably confirm the existence of Jesus as a historical person or disprove him entirely out of existence and being purely fictional. Either of which could rewrite history as we know it.
I've thought about that when you were saying that. Like, if they had definitive proof that Jesus existed, why wouldn't they release it? But maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't because, you want people to have more like faith. You want people to just believe rather than. I don't know. That's a good question. Is if you would release that.
I think some people also believe that Jesus was a person. He existed. It's just all the other stuff that went along with it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure proving he existed or not would dispel any of that other. Yeah. I guess if you proved he didn't exist, it would dispel everything else.
I would say in today's age, nobody would believe it anyway.
Yeah, right. No, they're as cynical as people are these days.
They would say it was faked or whatever.
Photoshopped.
Photoshopped.
Be on TikTok.
If there is proof that Jesus didn't exist, it's no wonder why the Vatican would keep it hidden. However, if they do have proof that Jesus existed, then who knows why they would keep such information under wraps. Whatever the case may be, it's theorized that such history-altering proof is locked away within the Vatican's archive. The next thing, obviously, aliens.
Woo!
Aliens are almost always the go-to cover-up for many conspiracy theorists, and the Vatican is no exception. Some claim that in 1998, skulls with elongated heads and small faces resembling the aliens from the Alien franchise were found underneath the Vatican. Apparently,
the movie franchise?
Yes.
Okay.
Like the
xenomorph?
Weird, the xenomorph, the tall, thick things that they'd found supposedly some of those skulls underneath the Vatican.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, ever since, the Vatican has kept all evidence of aliens secret as to not discredit Christianity.
I got something about that in mind, too.
Some still believe that the Vatican has much more direct evidence of aliens, with a few even claiming that there are several live aliens tucked away inside the Vatican's archive.
Like, wait. Like someone's going down there and feeding them every once in a
while?
I'm
expecting a room like in Silence of the Lambs, where there's just a couple aliens behind some plexiglass, like in a jail. Somebody goes down there and slides a tray through the thing with some food, or I don't know.
Some water and baked goods.
I touch on aliens a little bit, too, in my story.
Speaking of touching, one of the other biggest things that the Vatican archive has is porn.
Yeah.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Apparently, the archives are home to the largest collection of pornography.
I guess I'm second place.
What? Why?
This statement is confirmed not only by Copenhagen's Museum Erotica, where visitors are routinely informed that the Vatican holds the largest collection of erotica in the world, but also in writings by noted feminist scholar Camille Paglia and the National Review founder William Buckley. And lastly, other things that may include ties to the Vatican bank scandal of the 70s and the 2010s, money and items gathered during and after the Holocaust, harboring escaped Nazis during and after World War II, and widespread corruption within the Vatican's high-ranking members. All those things are tied to possibly be in the Vatican's secret archives.
Wow.
And that is it.
Wow.
Good job.
I mean, there's a lot more. There's, lesser, I guess, dramatic things.
Yeah.
But you have to assume with that many miles of shelving.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good job with that.
Wow.
The porn one, they talked about that one of those straight dope books, and they said basically it's old porn, like
1970s?
No, we're talking
20s.
No, we're talking
like 1700s,
1700s, 16, like
books.
paintings and books and stuff like that.
It's
Not
weird
like
that I don't think of that.
Not
stuff
like
as
the
porn.
1999 issue of Hustler. I'm talking like old stuff.
Really old girly magazines.
Yes. Yeah. So, but from what I hear about it, it's not like it's all those porn magazines. It's just like old
depictions of
old depictions of sex.
I have a hard time calling that porn, I guess.
Yeah.
So then the question is, do you believe that this stuff, either existed, whether it's the Chronovisor or the Grand Grimoire? And the Chronovisor, there's rumors that the guy retracted on his deathbed. There's also rumors that he stuck with it to the very end. There was the picture that Kurt showed you of what looked to be like the Shroud of Turin kind of vision or image of Jesus. That apparently is a copy of a famous picture that was going around during the time.
Yeah.
So they think it might have been like an etching, and then he aged it, whatever, to make it look like that.
Like an old black and white picture.
So some people say it's
the
disproven. Some people say it's
Chronovisor,
not.
I'm like, no.
No,
Like, it makes
yeah,
no
I'm
sense. Like,
noping
what is shooting the scene that they're looking at? That's what makes no sense to me.
Right.
Yeah, and like the biggest thing is people, when they realize the translation shouldn't have been secret, it should have been private. Basically, that was the whole reason.
Yeah.
You know,
But I do think they have things there we don't know about.
Oh, I
really
guarantee.
do.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jesus's foreskin
I think
or
the artifacts for sure. They have artifacts.
the one that I can kind of buy is the grimoire. Like maybe there was some sort of magical text to summon these things that they wanted kept there. That's the one that I can kind of buy.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff I can't. But
Yeah, did you ever watch the Dan Brown?
no, I've
movies?
never seen
The
any of
Angels
those.
and
I have never
Demons
seen any of those.
I read the Da Vinci Code and I saw the movie. I don't know
never
that I
saw that.
watched Angels and Demons.
It's really good with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
it's good. It's just one of
Yeah,
those
it's
things
really
that maybe
good.
I'll just have to watch one day.
And then when they do have the archives in the movie, it's basically what you would think it looks like. But yeah, even the person in the movie says that we're rumored to have all this stuff, but it's just basically texts and histories.
There's not a
and
couple
writings.
aliens there chilling at a
They
coffee
didn't-
table down
no,
there.
They didn't
And,
show any aliens like in Men in Black, where they're just chilling,
yeah,
having a coffee.
Reading some archival,
Yeah.
some archival
documents.
porn. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, what do you
Oh,
guys
but
think? Do you
would
think it's-
that guy know?
I
feel like there's probably only a handful of people who would really know what's in the archives.
I think that there's stuff there that we don't know about, but I think the grimoire could be a possibility, and I do think a lot of old religious artifacts might be a possibility.
and probably
Whether they have definitive proof of Jesus existing or not, I don't know.
I don't know about that. And I'm sure there's documents about corruption that are hidden in there. Sure.
But if you're a Vatican, if you're like a pope and you find out proof that Jesus didn't exist, you're gonna tuck that away somewhere.
Yeah. Your
'Cause
whole
that's like-
religion
that's like
is
a
based
business,
on
yeah.
it.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. As far as, for the Jesus thing, as far as I know, basically everybody agrees that he was proven to be alive. So he's an actual man, as to Krista said, with all the,
It's almost supernatural stuff,
things.
yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the Bible was written several years after his death and all that by different people, I like to think that they probably kept a lot of things back then, but if they would have known when he died, it's hard to manufacture stuff hundreds of
Yeah.
years later.
No, I agree
Right.
with that.
So I
Yeah.
think there's probably stuff, but I don't think it's anything remotely like the Chronovisor and even the Grimoire. It's
A little too out there for you.
yeah, for me.
Speaking of things hidden in the Vatican, another one might be the third prophecy of Fatima. So we talked
Are we
about
segueing into your
we are
topic?
segue. I just segued hard right into our topic. We talked last time
Good job,
about
Kory, by the way.
Fatima. Yeah, very good job. We talked about Fatima, the three peasant children that saw, and the miracle of the sun. So I talked about during that at one of the visitations of the supposed.
I just wanted to say it was really cool that some people on Facebook were like, "Yeah, this is a huge deal in my family or where I live." Wasn't
it's
Jamie
Portuguese.
one of them?
Yeah, because Jamie's
Yeah.
wife is Portuguese.
Yeah, so
from
people were
Portugal.
showing like shrines of like the whole Fatima
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
it was really cool to
And,
see people had like an actual connection to it.
Yeah, I mean it's a big thing. But during that, I talked about that at one of the visitations, somebody heard her heard Lucia gasp.
Yeah.
And that was when she was supposedly shown these prophecies. So, I'll get just a little summation here. We knew the first two. Those were revealed by her right away. The third one was revealed much later, but in 1941, Sister Lucia finally wrote about the prophecies that were supposedly shown to the children that day in July. The first one was a vision of hell that was shown to the children during Mary's appearance that day. Although this was not known until later, Mary seemed to open her hands, light came streaming down from them onto the children, and the three children were given a vision. In her memoirs, Sister Lucy describes the vision saying, quote, "She opened her hands once more as she had done the 2 previous months. The rays of light appeared to penetrate the earth, and we saw, as it were, a vast sea of fire. Plunged in this fire, we saw the demons and souls of the damned. The latter were like transparent burning embers, all blackened or burnished bronze, having human forms. They were floating about in that conflagration, now raised into the air by the flames which issued from within themselves, together with great clouds of smoke. Now they fell back on every side like sparks in huge fires without weight or equilibrium, amid shrieks and groans of pain and despair, which horrified us and made us tremble with fright. And in parentheses, it must have been this sight which caused me to cry out as people say they heard. The demons were distinguished from the souls of the damned by their terrifying and repellent likeness to frightful and unknown animals, black and transparent like burning coals. That vision only lasted for a moment, thanks to our good Heavenly Mother, who at the first apparition had promised to take us to heaven. Without that promise, I think that we would have died of terror and fear. So that was their vision of hell.
That would be scary.
Yeah, that would be scary. But I do like that she ties in there that that's probably when people heard her gasp, but then people did hear her gasp. So I don't know. I just thought that was like a neat little corroboration that maybe this did happen.
Right.
You know, the Blessed Virgin then spoke to them kindly, saying, quote, "You have seen hell where the souls of poor sinners go. To save them, God wishes you to establish in the world devotion to my Immaculate Heart. If what I say to you is done, many souls will be saved and there will be peace. The war is going to end, but if people do not cease offending God, a worse one will break out during the pontificate of Pius XI. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given to you by God that he is about to punish the world for its crimes by means of war, famine, and persecutions of the Church and the Holy Father." And now she tells her the second prophecy. She says, "To prevent this, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia into my Immaculate Heart and the communion of reparation on the first Saturdays. If my requests are heeded, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, she will spread her errors throughout the world, causing wars and persecutions of the Church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated. In the end, my Immaculate Heart will triumph. The Holy Father will I have such a hard time with this word. The Holy Father will consecrate Russia to me, and she will be converted, and a period of peace will then be granted to the world." That's the second prophecy of Fatima, which is basically saying Russia needs to come back to the Church, or else not good stuff is going to happen.
So weird that one country is
Yeah.
so dependent on
Signaled
coming
out.
back
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
fold.
So a May 8th, 2019 article on CatholicAnswers.com called, quote, "Getting Fatima Right" says, "In the July 1917 apparition, the lady stated that the world..." Oh, my stomach just made a weird noise. In the July 1917 apparition, the lady stated that the war, World War I, would end, but that a worse one would break out in the reign of Pius XI, who would not be elected until 1922. The sign presaging this event was said to be a night illuminated by an unknown light. On the night of January 25th and 26th, 1938, an extraordinary display of the aurora borealis was widely visible in Europe. In her third memoir, Sister Lucia interpreted this as a sign indicating that the new war was close. World War II broke out the following year. So that was just kind of an interesting thing. The apparition of Mary specifically told Lucia not to tell anyone about the secret at this stage apart from Francisco. But as we know, the word got out about the two ones because that mayor kidnapped them and threatened to fry them in oil unless they told them to...
Stand-up guy.
Yeah. So when asked by the bishop in 1943 to reveal the third secret, Lucia struggled for a short period, being, quote, "not yet convinced that God had clearly authorized her to act." However, in October 1943, the bishop ordered her to put it in writing. Lucia then wrote the secret down and sealed it in an envelope not to be opened until 1960 when she said, quote, "it will appear clearer." On January 3rd, 1944, the sealed envelope containing the third secret was delivered to the Bishop of Lyra, where it stayed until 1957 when it was finally delivered to Rome. In 1960, the Vatican issued a press release stating that it was, quote, "most probable the secret would remain forever under absolute seal." As you can imagine, there was a lot of speculation then about that third prophecy, which, what do you think's going to happen when you say, yeah, we're never going to tell you guys what's in this one? You know, people are going to kind of go nuts. This led people to wonder...
it kind of makes you think it's something really bad.
Yeah. This led people to wonder if the third prophecy was about Armageddon or nuclear annihilation or aliens or something. And for the longest time, there was nobody... They would never say what it was about. It was just... We knew that they had it, but they would never say what it was about. On May 2nd, 1981, a man named Lawrence James Downey hijacked an airplane and demanded that Pope John Paul II reveal the third secret to him in order to release the prisoners.
Wow.
Yeah.
He really wants to know the secret.
Then on May 13th, 1981, on the anniversary of the first Fatima apparition, Pope John Paul II was shot in an assassination attempt in St. Peter's Square. The Pope almost died from the wounds, but surgeons were able to save his life. And then on May 13th, 2000, 83 years after the lady first appeared, Cardinal Angelo Sedano said that they would finally reveal the third prophecy. On June 26, 2000, the Vatican revealed the supposed third prophecy of Fatima, which reads, quote, "The third part of the secret revealed at the Cova on 13th July 1917. I write in obedience to you, my God, who command me to do so through His Excellency the Bishop of Lyra and through your most holy mother and mine." And this is Lucia writing. This is Lucia's writing. "After the two parts, which I had already explained, at the left of Our Lady and a little above, we saw an angel with a flaming sword in his left hand, flashing. It gave out flames that looked as though they would set the world on fire, but they died out in contact with the splendor that Our Lady radiated towards him from her right hand. Pointing towards the earth with his right hand, the angel cried out in a loud voice, 'Penance, penance, penance.' And we saw in an immense light that is God, something similar to how people appear in a mirror when they pass in front of it. A bishop dressed in white. We had the impression that it was the Holy Father. Other bishops, priests, men and women, religious, going up a steep mountain at the top of which there was a big cross of rough-hewn trunks as of a cork tree with the bark. Before reaching there, the Holy Father passed through a big city half in ruins and half trembling with halting step, afflicted with pain and sorrow. He prayed for the souls of the corpses he met on his way. Having reached the top of the mountain, on his knees at the foot of the big cross, he was killed by a group of soldiers who fired bullets and arrows at him, and in the same way there died, one after another, other bishops, priests, men and women religious, and various lay people of different ranks and positions. Beneath the two arms of the cross there were two angels, each with a crystal in his hand, which they gathered up the blood of the martyrs, and with it sprinkled the souls that were making their way to God." So that is the third prophecy.
It's kind of ominous.
Along with the text of the secret, Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, published a commentary in which he states, quote, "A careful reading of the text of the so-called third secret...
Turd secret?
Turd secret.
Short secret.
Quote, "A careful reading of the text of the so-called third secret of Fatima will probably prove disappointing or surprising after all the speculation that it has stirred. No great mystery is revealed, nor is the future unveiled. After explaining the differences between public and private revelations, he cautions people not to see in the message a determined future event. The purpose of the vision is not to show a film of a fixed future. Its meaning is exactly the opposite. It is meant to mobilize the forces of change in the right direction. Therefore, we must totally discount fatalistic explanations of the secret, such as, for example, the claim that the would-be assassin of the Pope was merely an instrument of the divine plan guided by providence and could not therefore have acted freely, or other similar ideas in circulation. Rather, the vision speaks of dangers and how we might be saved from them." On May 11, 2010, during a flight to Fatima, answering a question about the third secret, Pope Benedict XVI said, quote, "We would be mistaken to think that Fatima's prophetic message has been completely realized." So they're saying that was the message. This weird image of this bishop or whatever going through the city that's in ruins to a cross and then being killed by soldiers. But a lot of people believe that vision was about the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul.
See, when you were reading it, my first thought was they kind of left it as a cliffhanger, but my thought was that what this is predicting is the eventual loss in belief.
Well, we're gonna get to that
into the Christian church.
That's what it feels like to me, rather than a specific event.
Yep, yeah. We're gonna get to that. I have here with
I was
you
curded.
just curded you.
I curded you.
I was curded.
With the text of the third secret officially released by Pope John Paul in 2000, you would think that this is the end of the story, and of course it's not. Some people believe that wasn't the actual prophecy. I mean, obviously you're going to have people believing that wasn't the actual prophecy. From an October 26th...
Wait, so what do you mean by that?
That
a lot of people believe that this was made up. Because the Vatican made this one up to put one out there so people shut up about it.
Okay.
Basically, if you want me to put it that way.
Yeah. Okay.
While the text of the third secret was officially released by Pope John Paul II in 2000, some claim that it was not the original secret revealed by Lucia, despite repeated assertions from the Vatican to the contrary. From an October 26, 2021 entry on the website The Cup of Joe, it says, quote, The third secret was supposed to be revealed in 1960. That was the request of Our Lady of Fatima as dictated to Sister Lucia. John the 23rd read the third secret and said, quote, "It doesn't belong to my pontificate." 40 years later, John Paul II revealed a partial text, which was a vision, without releasing the interpretation of that vision as Our Lady delivered it to Sister Lucia. To this day, Rome is rumored to have never released the full text of the third secret. However, many have read the text, and the conclusion has been the same. It deals with, I hate this word, apostasy in the church, which is the church being destroyed from inside.
Mm-hmm. Like
corruption? Like corruption
Okay.
and the church being destroyed from the inside. And the conclusion has been the same. It deals with apostasy in the church from the top down. Sister Lucia herself directed us to the Apocalypse, chapters 8 to 13. It is worth noting that one of the chapters she directed us to deals with the rise of the Antichrist. She also stated in 1972, quote, "The devil has succeeded in bringing evil into the church under the guise of good, and the blind are beginning to lead others." Father Malachi Martin, who also read the actual third secret, commented, quote, "Fatima is a very apocalyptic message. It says that no matter what happens, there are going to be terrible wars, there are going to be diseases, whole nations are going to be wiped out, there are going to be 3 days of darkness, there are going to be epidemics that will wipe out whole nations overnight, parts of the earth will be washed away, and violent tornadoes and storms are going to happen. It's not a nice message at all." And this was what he read before this was supposedly released. So his deals a lot more with, what he's saying deals a lot more with like apocalypse
Like end of the world
and the
stuff,
end of the
yeah.
world stuff.
Or just like global warming.
Yeah. or I found it interesting that they talked about pandemics.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinal Sylvie Odie remarked, quote, "It has nothing to do with Gorbachev. The Blessed Virgin was alerting us to the apostasy in the church." Cardinal Ratzinger in 1984 stated, quote, "The secret of Fatima speaks neither of atomic bombs, nor of nuclear warheads, nor of missiles. Its content concerns only our faith. To identify the secret with catastrophic announcements of a nuclear holocaust is to distort the meaning of the message. The loss of the faith of a continent is far worse than the annihilation of a nation." Don't know if I believe that.
Yeah.
But there was also a apparition at some place called Salette or La Salette in 1846, and this article says, "We also recall the very words of Our Lady at Salette in 1846 when she said that the church would be in eclipse and that, quote, Rome will lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist." And another apparition in 1973 at a place called Akita said, quote, "If men do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all of humanity. It will be punishment greater than a deluge, such as one has never been seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and will wipe out a great part of humanity, the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priests nor the faithful. The survivors will find themselves so desolate that they will envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son. Each day recite the prayers of the rosary. With the rosary, pray for the Pope, the bishops, and the priests." So this is basically a lot of apocalyptic talk and a lot of destruction, like the church being, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like
A lot of,
destroyed from within.
we're destroyed from within, and the Antichrist and that stuff.
If you think about it, though, if a lot of people conduct themselves in a good way out of fear of what would happen to them if they weren't a good person, and then that faith was gone, imagine how differently they would act
Oh yeah.
towards other
That's-
people or
That's
in
always
the
been a
world.
knock on the Catholic Church is
Yeah.
that they beat you into submission by
Yeah, they keep you in line with fear.
Fear,
So if
yeah.
that fear were suddenly gone, I could see how that could turn the tide, and,
Yeah. Yep.
and things would be very different.
But the Akita prophecy goes on to say, "The work of the devil will infiltrate even into the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops against bishops. The priests who venerate me will be scorned and opposed by their confreres. Churches and altars will be sacked. The church will be full of those who accept compromises, and the demon will press many priests and souls to leave the service of the Lord." So that's a lot of bad stuff coming from within the church.
Mm-hmm.
So why do some people feel that the whole prophecy hasn't been released? The third prophecy, as released by the Vatican in 2000, appeared to be a 4-page handwritten note. In Lucia's memoirs, she describes the prophecy as being written on a single page, which is interesting that She says that when she wrote it, it was 1 page. And when the church released it, it was 4 handwritten pages.
That doesn't add up.
No.
They're elaborating or adding things.
In a taped interview, Charles Fiore quoted Father Malachi Martin as saying the following regarding the text of the third secret. He said, quote, "I cooled my heels in the corridor outside the Holy Father's apartments while my boss, Cardinal B., was inside debating with the Holy Father and with a group of other bishops and priests and 2 young Portuguese seminarians who translated the letter, a single page written in Portuguese, for all those in the room." Bishop Wow Venecio says that he saw Lucia's original paper, handwritten, about with 25 lines on 1 page with small margins, and that what the Vatican released in 2000 was 62 lines on 4 pages with no margins. So people that saw the original written down by Sister Lucia Prophecies say that the one that was given out is not the same.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to try to figure out what Portuguese looks like when it's translated. Is it one of those languages that you see 2 lines and you think it's, it just says thank you, but it ends up spanning 4 lines when it's translated to English or whatever language?
I don't know. But I think you're going under the assumption that that was the exact paper that Sister Lucia wrote, that it wasn't translated. It was the exact paper. So I don't know if it was translated and handwritten down onto another piece of paper, but there's a lot of people that point at that as saying that's one of the reasons why that's not the actual third prophecy of Fatima, is because of the page difference. In an interview published in the November 11th, 1984 edition of Jesus magazine, Cardinal Ratzinger was asked whether he had read the text of the third secret and why it had not been revealed yet. Ratzinger acknowledged that he had read the third secret and stated, quote, "Because, according to the judgment of the popes, it adds nothing new to what a Christian must know concerning what derives from revelations, i.e., a radical call for conversion, the absolute importance of history, the dangers threatening the faith and life of the Christian and therefore the world, and then the importance of the novissimi. If it is not made public, at least for the time being, it is in order to prevent religious prophecy from being mistaken for a quest for sensationalism. But the things contained in this third secret correspond to what has been announced in Scripture and has been said again and again in many other apparitions, first of all of Fatima, in what is already known of what its message contains. Conversion and penitence are the essential conditions for salvation." 2 things that people notice that he said is, the first one is that he said, a careful reading of the text of the so-called third secret of Fatima will probably prove disappointing or surprising after all the speculation it has stirred. No great mystery is revealed. But before the contents were released, he said that it was being kept from the public in order to prevent religious prophecy from being mistaken for a quest for the sensationalism, which is a contradiction. Like at one point, he is saying that there's nothing here. And in another one, he is saying that it's being kept secret because it's too sensational. Which is weird. And then a lot of people read into his use of the word novissimi, which in Latin means people, but in Italian means end times. Yeah.
Two wildly different definitions.
Two wildly different definitions. And former Philippine ambassador to the Vatican, Howard D., stated that Cardinal Ratzinger had personally confirmed to him that the messages of Fatima and Akita are essentially the same. The Akita prophecy in part talks about how the work of the devil will infiltrate even into the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops against bishops, and churches and altars sacked. So that sounds like kind of what it is about. That what it is about is the devil infiltrating the church. And there's really kind of nothing about it in that they mention it a little bit in that supposed third prophecy, but not to the point that like people that have actually read it are saying. And according to one source, when Lucia herself was asked about the third secret, she just said, quote, "It is in the Gospels and in the Apocalypse." And at one point, she even specified Apocalypse chapters 8 to 13, a range that includes the book of Revelations, which is about the end times. Cardinal Bertone comments on an unsourced accusation that the Vatican is concealing a 1-page text of the third secret, which predicts a great apostasy where Rome will lose its faith completely and become the throne of the Antichrist. Bertone responds as follows, quote, "That's absolutely crazy. Look, are you claiming that the prophecy of Fatima is about the apostasy of the church in Rome? That Fatima is a prediction of Rome's transformation into the throne of the Antichrist? Despite the love Our Lady has for the Pope and the Pope's for Our Lady? Anyone can write books based on conspiracy theories or biased interpretations. Anyone can take sentences out of context and present them as clues to some supposed plot to avoid divulging the truth and to transmit it in a code that only the initiates can understand. No, the whole theory you allude to is a fabrication. And this supposedly factual account is actually the sort of device that the Freemasons used to discredit the church. So now they're bringing the Freemasons into it.
Illuminati into
The Illuminati,
it right
the Freemasons.
Circle widens.
Yeah. The supposed factual account is actually the sort of device the Freemasons used to invent to discredit the church. I'm surprised that journalists and writers who claim to be Catholics let themselves be taken in. Bertone also states that, quote, we have the word, better, the official confirmation of Sister Lucia. She was asked, is this the third secret and the only text of it? And she replied, yes, this is the third secret, and I never wrote any other. In 2007, writers Antonio Socchi and Soldio Palladino produced a tape recording in which they claimed Archbishop Loris Capalvilla revealed that there were 2 texts of the third secret. So, I don't know. And Sister Lucia said that in the 1940s, it's said, I don't know if she said this or it was said about her, but Sister Lucia said that in the 1940s, she was granted further enlightenment on the third secret, and it somehow involved the Earth's axis. So that's what there you go. I mean, that's now I got the theories. We got theories here. Theory number 1, the third secret was completely released. That was what they said it was. That was the third secret. It's just keeping that secret for so long. I guess I could understand it because there's this vision of this bishop or this holy man walking through the city with corpses all over and then him getting killed. I guess I could see them keeping that secret because they don't know if this is going to happen at some point.
So the original first 2 secrets were what, in the 20s?
Yeah, like around the 20s or 30s.
And for some reason they wanted this one to be released, but they held on to it.
They wanted this one to be released
60s.
in the 60s.
So you have to look.
I don't know.
You have to look back at this for what it would have been in the 20s.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they held it to the 60s, but didn't release it until 2000, we're looking at it from a completely different lens than we would have in the 20s.
Totally.
So, when you were reading this, my first thought went to Nostradamus.
Yeah.
Because he always had these end-of-the-world prophecies.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, was that what we were supposed to look at in the 20s? And they held off to the 60s.
But then they ended up not releasing it till like 2000.
Yeah. So then I look at it as, we have to look at it as to what they would have thought about this in the 20s. They probably would have crapped their pants, thinking about it this way. But then you look at World War I, World War II, then you can look at it in the 60s as maybe the start of the Cold War. So then they keep pushing it back. They keep referring to every current event with this prophecy.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get that. But I don't know. So that's their theory number 1. That is the actual third prophecy. Theory number 2, the church is suppressing details about turmoil within the church itself. A rumor surfaced that Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, had privately confessed to his friend that the Vatican had withheld a section of the prophecy that warned of, quote, a bad council and a bad mass. Combined with the fact that Lucia had asked for the secret to be released in 1960, this seemed to be a reference to the Second Vatican Council and the subsequent changes in the church that remain controversial for many traditionalists. But the released text does not contain anything of a controversial nature which could bring about a crisis of faith within the church. But there's a lot of stuff tied in with this idea of the church destroying itself from inside. And if you're a Christian, you hear that's going to freak you out. So that they're thinking that's why that was suppressed, is this stuff about the turmoil within the church collapsing on itself. And that kind of gets us to theory number 3. The church is suppressing details about the Antichrist. And there was a lot about the Antichrist, like that the Vatican will become the seat for the Antichrist at some point. And the turmoil in the church is going to lead to the Antichrist rising. And
I always hate the word Antichrist.
I know.
Because it makes you think of
A person.
the opposite of Christ, which
Yeah.
is like the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
And I know it's just supposed to be a man or woman.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a man that is supposed to be able to have like a golden tongue to persuade
Yeah.
people to follow him, which I'm not going to get political on here, but a lot of people tied in with a certain somebody,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, in my Vatican archive research, I just mentioned it at the very end about the Vatican bank scandals in
Yeah.
the 70s and 2010s.
Yep.
And if you look at the one in the 2010s, it's really bad, like with all the innuendo and conspiracy about money being laundered, and the way they found some bodies of bankers like strung up under bridges.
Yeah, like hanging under bridges and stuff. And maybe that's what if this isn't the legit third prophecy, maybe the third prophecy involves that.
Yeah. I mean, nothing, I don't think it ever became of it, because here we are in 2021, almost 2022.
Yeah.
And I think everything is still going strong.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So what that description you read before of the alleged third prophecy, was that taken from that was that like an excerpt from that 4
That was
page?
the 4 pages.
Okay.
I believe that was the 4 pages.
Okay.
I don't know, but that was the official one that they released as being the third prophecy. The one with this. Do you want me to read the whole thing again, or no?
No,
the
I
third
remember
prophecy.
it.
Okay. So yeah, that's theory number 3. The church is suppressing details about the Antichrist. Theory number 4, a big one. The church is suppressing details about the end of the world. A 900-year-old prophecy by Saint Malachi Morgare, who is said to have had a vision of all 112 popes from the first to the last, saying that the last is the one who will witness God's final judgment. He wrote down 112 short Latin phrases describing each one. According to the authors, the description of the last pope on the list, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, matches Pope Francis. So, I don't know if our pope line is coming to an end according to this guy that says that Pope Francis will witness God's final judgment. I don't know.
Yeah.
According to an article on the last days
what number pope are we on right now?
I'm not even sure what number pope we're on.
Or what his name is.
Oh, Pope Francis is the current pope.
Well, good.
So he is the 112th.
Oh, come
so
on.
yeah.
well,
so it's
much
weird
for
that
any,
this.
So much for any hypothetical Christmas episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So this.
So how long are you the reigning pope until you die?
Until you either retire or die.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, 900-year-old prophecy by Saint Malachi Morgare wrote down 112 short Latin phrases for each pope. According to authors, the description of the last pope on the list, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, matches Pope Francis. And he's going to be the one that's going to witness God's final judgment. So there's really cheery thought.
I wonder if that's, could it be a actual end of the world, or if that's like a metaphor for like the end of religion or whatever,
I don't know.
Who knows what
it's
that
very
actually
possible.
means.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world. Yeah, according to an article on the Last Days of Tolmac blog called, quote, the 3 Secrets of Fatima, it says, in the October 1981 issue of the German magazine, oh boy, Stein des Globens, it reads as follows, quote, the Holy Father was asked, what about the 3rd Secret of Fatima? Should it not have already been published by 1960? Pope John Paul II replied, given the seriousness of the contents, my predecessors in the office of Peter preferred to postpone publication so as not to encourage the world power of communism to try to carry out certain moves. On the other hand, it should be sufficient for all Christians to know this. If there is a message in which it is written that the oceans will inundate whole areas of the earth and that from one moment to the next millions will perish, truly the publication of such a message is no longer something to be so much desired. Many wish to know simply from curiosity and a taste for the sensational, but they forget that knowledge also implies responsibility. They only seek the satisfaction of their curiosity, and that it is dangerous if at the same time they are not disposed to do something, and if they are convinced that it is impossible to do anything about evil. So they thought that was a weird comment from him, saying, look, if this thing talks about oceans flooding everybody and millions of people dying, do you even really want to know?
Right.
So people kind of think that was like a hint that that's what was in the 3rd prophecy.
Although if they would have told us this in the 60s, maybe global warming wouldn't be happening right now. And we could have prevented this.
That's true.
It seems like everybody just adds their own little interpretation.
But I mean, I agree with what he says. He's like, if something says the
world's
world's going to end,
hit the earth,
do you want to know that? Because you're just going to not care anymore or do anything because you know that it's already been predetermined that it's going to happen.
Something you can't prevent.
Yep.
I mean, you had that one comment too about the person that talked about, or I think it was herself saying that there was an issue about the polar or the
axis.
Yeah,
axis
that was actually on here, but I started looking into that.
People say that could happen.
Yeah,
anytime.
I started looking into that, and that's going to be a mini mystery because there's a lot of stuff tied in with that. Like there's some people that say nothing will happen. There's some people say that we'll be dead.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to look at for axis change. But one interesting thing about that is that and I took this all out of here. I had a huge chunk, and I'm like, this is getting too much for this, so it's going to be a separate one. But a lot of people said at the Miracle of the Sun, where the sun danced around in the sky, people said that sounds like what would happen during an axis shift. So people say that the Virgin Mary was showing them what the axis shift will look like. That the third prophecy supposedly actually really talks about was this axis shift in the earth. But axis shift, looking into that, it's a rabbit hole. So I'm going to save that for a different one. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I forgot to mention that people tied that in with the miracle of the sun dancing around in the sky, saying that is what it's going to look like during the axis shift.
I remember reading that too, where people said it could absolutely be nothing. You wouldn't even notice it.
Yep.
And then some people saying it would completely destroy the world. So,
Theory number 5, the church is suppressing details about
Abuse?
aliens.
Oh, aliens.
Gordon Cooper, NASA astronaut, said, quote, "You want to know about UFOs and little green men? Contact the Vatican. They have an observatory out in Arizona, and that's what they're looking for." And I never knew this. The Vatican owns the most powerful telescope in the world. It's at the Mount Graham International Observatory in Arizona, where Vatican astronomers observe deep space. Yeah.
I thought the Hubble telescope was like the telescope.
The one on Earth, that's...
well,
the Vatican owns that telescope and is always looking into space. And then this, from an exemplar.com article, June 24, 2020, shocking new findings reveal that the Vatican is waiting for an alien savior. The article says, quote, quote, Vatican theologians consider the possibility that Jesus was a star child and the Immaculate Conception was one of the earliest documented cases of alien abduction and visitation. Thus, the second coming of Christ is expected to confirm that Jesus was in fact an extraterrestrial or a human-alien hybrid.
Wow.
Preparations for new alien god are well on the way. The church plans to reassure the faithful that the new ET reality doesn't negate the word of the Bible and Jesus Christ as the Son of God. The Catholic Church will embrace the new alien savior and encourage religious people everywhere to do the same. So,
does the Bible make references that are interpreted as
aliens?
Being about aliens?
I don't know.
That's
That's something that I never really looked at. You looked for a while into the Bible code. I remember when you were like kind of into the Bible code thing.
I think it's just random gibberish. But like the telescope, I mean, did they simply fund a lot of it, or are they actually the ones running it? Is it? I
think they funded it and run it.
So is it like a collaboration with like Arizona University or Arizona
State? I think
State?
It's a collaboration with another university. But then, like you and I were talking about on the way down here, I didn't get into that in here, but a lot of people make a big fuss about the fact that one of the components of the telescope, its code name is Lucifer.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But
really?
then people
Which
are
means
saying
the light bringer.
I think Snopes was saying that like a small mirror that was made for that. It wasn't like that Vatican itself made that Lucifer mirror for it.
Okay.
But they said it was a small part of it.
So I just think maybe if they were funding some of it or partly co-run it with somebody like a university, then it's really not that big of a deal. Whether they would be putting their money towards, some
just why though?
I don't know.
Like why are they
mining
involved
operation?
At all?
It wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I don't know. It's just weird. Like I never knew that they had this telescope, so it's strange.
It is strange.
I wish I would have looked more into it now, but I didn't. But yeah. Theory number 6, the church is suppressing details about something we don't even know about. I mean, that's possible.
Yeah.
You never know.
We haven't even thought about it.
And theory number 7, it's all bunk. I mean, all of this, and you think about it, all of this hinges on the events at Fatima being legit.
Right.
Because Lucia is the one that said all these things.
Right.
We said we think something happened at Fatima. I mean, all those people, whether it was mass hysteria, I don't want to poo-poo on religious beliefs.
But again,
but
it doesn't
I do
explain
think
the people who experienced stuff
I do
far
think
away.
something miraculous happened at Fatima. But then it questioned a lot of if Sister Lucia was legit. And if she wasn't, then all of this is done because she's the one that said these 3 prophecies were given to her. If this is legit, then I don't know. But to sum it up quick before we get to what do you think, I just came across this quote from Neil Gaiman, which I really like, that said, quote, "I sat in the dark and thought, there's no big apocalypse, just an endless procession of little ones." So what do you think?
That's
What do you think
basically described 2020.
Yeah. What do you think about the third prophecy?
I mean, just in general, the prophecies themselves, obviously I'm not that much of a religious guy. But in the context of the era where it happened, I could see people with the preconceived notion that something's going to happen on this day.
Yeah.
And enough people seeing something to trump it up to be something, not to use Trump, but to trump it up to be something bigger than what it is. And as for the actual prophecies, I don't think they really matter anymore. I mean, I don't think that I think you could go back and prescribe things that have happened to those.
Yeah.
But then you're doing what everybody did for Nostradamus.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like in his things, when he says Hister, everybody refers to, well, it's obviously talking about Hitler.
But he's not. He's talking about the Danube River.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was called Hister.
Yeah. So then you go back and just apply things to
Yeah.
the prophecies. So I'm going to go basically with, I think all of it was bunk.
Okay.
And as to why they hid it for so long, I mean, I could see why people would be concerned about the end of the world prophecies and stuff like that. But basically, they've been dealing with that the entire existence of the Christian church or Catholic church.
Yeah.
So as to why, I don't know.
I think I don't know. I think that third prophecy, I do think is a little freaky in the way that it's talking about that bishop walking through the city with the corpses and then him getting killed. So if that is the legit one, I could kind of see why they keep that behind because, you know, assuming they're thinking that bishop might be one of their popes and he's going to get killed, maybe they don't want that given out there so people think to kill the pope, you know? So I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I part of me wants to say they're keeping something secret, but the rational part of me thinks that was the third prophecy that they released. I don't think they're keeping anything secret, but I don't know why I think that, but I do.
It just dawned on me too that wasn't there something with Pope John Paul II where he was supposedly killed by poison, or like he was killed?
Remember.
He was killed in the Vatican. Like one of his nuns just left him and then came back a couple hours later and he was dead.
I don't remember.
And they were talking about this was going to be the start of. I'll look it up while you're talking, but
Armageddon. I don't know. I don't remember that, but I tend to think something happened at Fatima, and I kind of believe Sister Lucia. You know, I do. So I kind of think that I think the prophecies were legit, and I think I think the third one, especially with her saying, no, this is the one this is it. Lucia herself said there's nothing else. Mm-hmm. But if there is something bad and you have the Pope and bishops come to talk to you and be like, could you say that this is it because we don't really want this real prophecy getting out? I could see her going along with that for the greater good of the church. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think her saying that was the only one doesn't necessarily prove that there's nothing being hidden from with the third prophecy. So I don't know. What do you think?
So
this was a heavy episode.
I feel like it all comes down to fear. I feel like all the prophecies are just reiterating what like the Catholic Church specifically has been spouting for years, and it's if you don't behave a certain way, you're all going to hell. It all comes down to like fear.
I feel like.
Well, wait.
I feel like that's
though.
not so. I feel like the church was like that, but I don't think modern church is.
I think it is, but
I don't. I feel like the Catholic Church has softened a lot with the fear mongering.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think so.
But I guess my point is though, why would that be a little girl's agenda? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it doesn't quite make sense, but I could see how saying, well, we have a third one, but we're not going to tell you what it is. That's holding on to the fear. Like we have this secret and you just need to trust us and keep following us because
that's true.
We know what
it
is and you just need to follow the church. So that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
But on a side note, this is such a weird thing that I thought of, but has anyone, you don't have Netflix. Kory, have you watched
Squid Games?
Midnight Mass on Netflix?
I have it on
at
my
all?
phone to start watching it.
Really
I have
good.
to finish Arrow.
It's very, very good. But it's funny because they're going through like the mass and like watching this, and I haven't been to church in a couple of decades, and I knew it word for word. I'm like, well, nothing's changed. Like I know the mass, the Catholic mass, word for word. I could get up and probably do it because I went to a Catholic school. I went to church twice a week. And I'm like, so not much has changed because the mass is exactly the same as it was as I was a kid. And I remember it still being very fear-based when I was a kid. Like, man, you did not want to go to hell.
No,
so you had to follow all the rules.
I guess. I don't go to church, so I don't know. But it just seems, from my opinion, that it's not really fear-based anymore. I don't know, but maybe that's just me.
So I was wrong. It was Pope John Paul I. He died suddenly in September 1978, 33 days after his election.
Oh, I remember that.
Following contradictory reports about the circumstances of his death and apparent anomalies about the issuing of his death certificate and other procedures, several conspiracy theories have gained currency. Many of these concern the serious corruption in the Vatican Bank, possibly linked to Freemasonry, which is forbidden by church law, although none of these claims have been substantiated.
Okay, yep. Now that you say that, I remember that. But if the third one is about trouble in the church, there's obviously been trouble in the church.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think any institution that big, you're going to have people that look out for themselves and want things a different way. And I would just think after all these years, if it's still standing strong, then it's going to take more than that to bring it down.
Dang, that was a heavy episode.
It was.
Now we didn't even get. We're going to have like a Vatican hit squad after us now talking about this. I mean, there's some. Vatican is interesting. If you do a deep dive on the Vatican.
I'll help you start my car for me when we get
okay. I'll pick you up. Let me go down the block with it, and then I'll pick you up. So, what do you guys think? Vatican hiding stuff?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, any institution that big, been around for that long.
Do you think they're hiding the actual third prophecy of Fatima?
No.
Okay.
As to why they did, I can see why they did, but I don't think it's anything to be worried about any different than any other forecaster, prognosticator out there that says that.
True.
Look at the Aztec calendar.
Oh,
went to
2012.
Mayan
Yeah, nothing happened.
No.
The end of the world in 2000.
People were all freaked out. Yeah.
I remember being
Y2K.
in a bar. I remember being in a bar at midnight, calling a friend of mine, asking him why he's not out because his wife won't let him come out.
Yeah.
So
Y2K was a big one.
Yeah, and it's just like all these things are predicted to be the end of the world, and that's just the major ones that we heard.
Yeah.
So all that stuff I think is bunk.
Okay. What do you listeners think? What do you think about, is the Vatican keeping some stuff like the Grand Grimoire, the Chronovision?
Or Jesus' Foreskin?
Jesus' Foreskin, Chronovision. Chronovision, I'm like, it's a cool sci-fi story idea, but other than that, no. So yeah, there you go. Since this is running long, let's just jump into our song choices, and we'll do that. Our category this time was singer you have a crush on. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
I did too. I did a man crush.
Okay.
I had to do a man crush, and I did a female crush. I'll start with my man crush. I just posted a video by them on my. And thank you to everybody that was like super concerned about me. Mm-hmm. It was just a bad day, and I just wrote a.
That was the day you busted your tooth.
That was the day
right?
I busted my tooth. But my song for my man crush, I don't even really know his name, so I should probably look it up.
So it's a minor crush?
Yeah, it's a minor crush. It's like a man crush. Like I want to, I don't want to like marry him and live happily ever after, but I want to have a beer with this guy because I just love this guy.
According to my wife, my man crush is Zac Efron.
Really?
Yeah. So I said once
in a movie. I have a woman crush on him as well.
I said once in a movie, I'm like, that's a good-looking guy. So now every time there's
very
a movie,
good looking.
That's Kory's boyfriend.
And he just gets better with age. I'm just gonna say.
I never thought about a man crush, but I got somebody.
So my man crush's name is David LaPepe.
Okay.
He is the singer from the band Gang of Youths, and I absolutely love the band Gang of Youths. They're an Australian band, and I think they're amazing. And he's a good-looking dude. I mean, I'll flat out, like, this is him. Like, he is a good-looking dude. People say he looks like that guy that plays Aquaman a little bit, like a cross between
Jason
Momoa.
Yeah, like a cross between. That's him.
Oh, a little bit.
Oh, he's good looking.
Yeah, he is a good-looking dude, and
I wouldn't kick him out of bed.
I love their lyrics, and he's just somebody that I just admire, and I love their lyrics. He's just like, I want to have a beer with him. David, if you ever hear this, come to Wisconsin and have a beer with me because I love you. I love your music, and yeah, he's my man crush.
So who's your girl crush?
My girl crush, Kory and I were talking on the way down here, and Kory actually mentioned her.
Which one?
You mentioned her as one that you remember saying that you mentioned having a crush on in her videos.
Amy Lee?
Anna Nalick.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely love Anna Nalick. She did that song Breathe, 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah. That's a great song.
But I've been following her for years on Instagram, and I just love her.
Yeah.
I adore her. I think she's just gorgeous. And she's only known for that song. She was like a one-hit wonder. But I just really, really like her. I like the stuff she believes in. I like the stuff she says. I just think she's like a good person. So Anna Nalick is she's one of my many singing crushes.
It
was hard to nail that down. The other one I thought of right off the bat is Lisa Loeb in the video for Stay.
See, that's what I would have guessed.
It's not so much like I watched that video a bunch of times trying to think about this, and
It's
it's
just
not
really
so much.
cute.
It's not so much the way she looks. It's the little mannerisms she does in the video that I find that I love, like the little head shakes and the little things she does that I love. But I ended up going with Anna Nolick just because I follow her on Instagram, and I just really like her.
She's hot in that video. I mean, there's
But
no other way around it.
She's just pretty. And the video I'm going to post is actually one video that I just love, where this was from a couple of years ago, where she was doing a concert, and she's not big, doesn't get big crowds by any stretch of the imagination. So it was like a concert in an auditorium, but she had a super bad cold. So she tried doing one song, could not do a song. So she just did question and answers where she just had to like rasp out the answers. And then finally somebody from the crowd said, well, can we sing Breathe? You know, to
Like,
you?
Together? Oh,
To
that's
you.
really
Yeah.
cool.
And she's like, yeah. And she's up on stage, and you can see she's crying.
Aw.
And it's just like a really sweet video. I'm going to post that one instead of the actual song because everybody knows that song. So that is my two, Anna Nolick and David, the singer from Gang of Youths.
I didn't know there was going to be a man crush. So
You don't have to do a man
I only
crush.
had
I just
one.
volunteered to do a
I
man
only
crush.
have one.
it's just a man crush for his voice, and that's Mark Cohn.
Oh,
From
yeah. I
Walking
totally
in
get
Memphis.
that. Walking in Memphis.
He could sing the
Yeah.
alphabet.
The
or,
song Walking in Memphis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that he's had some. I think he was shot in the head
Oh my
a
God.
couple of years back. I think he was
I think
shot in his
yeah,
car,
I think
carjacking
I think now
or
that I
something
remember
like that.
you say that, I remember that.
I know
remember
he's been married to like some famous people. That Elizabeth Vargas. She's
Elizabeth Vargas.
yeah, she's a news
I remember when I
correspondent or
used to
something.
hang out with Erica a lot. We went to one of her friend's house and drank like all night. Just sat there at the table, the kitchen table, like you do in Wisconsin. Sit at the kitchen table, but they put that CD, The Walking in Memphis, and we listened to it like 3 times. And I was like, holy crap, this is a really good CD. Like he's super talented.
Yeah. So and just the
Nope.
voice, and then
Yep.
some of his other songs. I probably won't put. I won't give you "Walking in Memphis." I'll give you one of his other songs.
Okay.
But for the female, we talked about this on the drive down, and there's really only one that comes to mind. I printed out a picture of her. I put it in my locker at work, which is like totally not something I would normally do. I don't really find those fascinations like Kurt does with singers. And that is Jewel from, when I
Jewel.
was definitely younger.
Who's more of an actress now than a...
Yeah. I realized that
singer.
she just had an interview with Joe Rogan on his podcast, and it's absolutely amazing because she talks about like when she was poor and living in her vehicle and how she was discovered and she turned down $1 million recording contract, and she just seems like down to earth and she gets it, and I just thought she was beautiful. And
You Were Meant for Me is always one of my all-time favorite videos, and I think she's just adorable in that video.
Yeah, I think I'll do the one that she gets the most crap for, and that's that Intuition.
Oh,
Where
yeah, I totally forgot about
she
that
went-
song.
Totally changed
She
her
totally was
style.
like poppy.
It was-
Yeah.
And it was basically the video she got a lot of crap for.
Yeah, because it
because
was like
of,
totally poppy, and she
Yeah.
had this little skirt on. And
yeah,
stuff.
and she was just trying to prove the, being a consumerist society and having these ads that don't really show you what you're being, what it's the actual ad for. It ends up being 3 ladies scantily clad, and it ends up being for a beer.
Yeah,
So, and that's what I'll go with.
totally.
Didn't she kind of go country then?
Oh yeah, she's totally country.
I think
And she's in like Hallmark Christmas movies now.
Yeah, I would watch some of those.
She's a good actress.
I'll have to check
She's
those
cute.
out.
Mine's a girl crush, and you probably already know who it is.
I know it's gonna be Haley
Yeah, it's totally Haley Williams.
from Paramore.
She's my one and only original girl crush. I just love her. I think she's amazing. I think she's so talented. She's really smart. She's a good person. And the song that I'm going to recommend is actually Crush, Crush, Crush.
Yep.
Paramore. It's off the Riot album.
The
It's
ol-
one of the first videos I saw, and I was like, wow, she was a teenager when that album came out, and I'm like, she's just larger than life.
Yep.
I don't know.
When
I just think
when
she's
was
amazing.
Dog sitting for you guys that time. That was one of the only songs that I could get a perfect score on.
that's
rock,
right.
Rock
band
Oh,
singing
funny.
on difficult. That was the only song that I could just
I mean,
nail.
obviously you could use Misery Business because she doesn't sing it anymore.
Right, yeah, she doesn't. But that just shows what kind of person she is, too.
I mean,
because
she's also always gotten a lot of crap too for being like, she's like the person in Paramore, and it doesn't matter who the band members are. And
people
then,
love Paramore for her.
Yeah.
But what
then she
sucks too
went-
is that like I love We Are the In Crowd, and any band that comes out with a female singer is automatically tagged a Paramore wannabe band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she went kind of poppy there with some collaborations with I can't think of any of the singers.
B.O.B.
now. Yeah,
who's a
that's it,
flat earther, by the
yeah,
way.
Airplanes or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like their stuff when they were more of a punk rock,
Mm-hmm.
alt rock type thing. But the pop stuff, it's not bad. She's definitely got talent.
She's a cutie.
I dig her solo stuff a lot. It's total departure from Paramore. But yeah, she's my girl crush.
No man crushes?
I won't kick her out of bed.
I can't think of anyone. Like, I don't know. Like a man crush, like a singer. I don't know. Mine would be
Was
something.
it Pitbull?
Who? Oh God, no.
Remember?
Mine would be like
I don't
James,
even know if that was
Worldwide?
It'd
we were
probably
talking
be
about
like
that before
James
we recorded.
Hetfield or something. Because to me, he's like the ultimate frontman for a band. He's like he just commands a
At
stage.
least you didn't say David
like-
Lee Roth.
No. I love Metallica.
like
I'm a
the-
huge Metallica fan.
The Jared Leto or emo bands like.
I'm not into emo at all.
No.
Nope, not at all. And Jared Leto, yeah, he's hot and everything, but I've heard too many things about him lately that make me think, nope, I'm not really into you that much. Like, I don't know, like he's not as good of a person as he maybe comes across. That turns me off. So I don't know.
We're going to have a lot of songs to post. 5 songs, 2 mine, 2 Kory's.
Yeah. Oh, should we
Okay.
squeeze a joke in here?
Squeeze
just
a
real
joke
quick?
in and then I'll...
Like a terrible, terrible pickle
I
joke.
will throw the...
Okay, should you ever eat pickles on an empty stomach?
We already did this one.
Oh, dang. Why didn't the pickle cross the sandwich?
We did that one too, I think.
To keep from coming through the rye?
Yes, we did that one too.
I must block these out.
It's probably for
What
the
gives
best.
a pickle a good taste?
What?
4 years in an Ivy League school.
That's so
I feel like I could write better jokes than that.
Anyway,
Any hoozles.
poop, I forgot to look something up. I'll have to do it before the next episode if we were to record a next episode.
Hypothetically.
Well, you can email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Strange Session without the S. Lots of stuff, feedback on Twitter. That's going crazy.
I haven't even checked it.
No, I don't think we ever touched that one. We
No.
are on Instagram at The Strange Sessions, where Krista does a great job. You can send us postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54221-0434. And you can call our lonely little phone number at 920-443-9602. Roland, thank you so
Yes,
much
thank
for
you,
the lemon,
Roland.
even though it's a little too fizzy and sour. But Krista actually
Came
has something
straight from
here from Italy, so
Yes.
she is probably going to sleep with that under her pillow
Yep.
tonight. Kory, thank you as always for joining. You did a bang-up job.
As always.
You're welcome.
You need to sneak into the Vatican, see what's in there. That's your mission before next
All right,
time.
I'll
You
come
already
back.
dressed. You got like the,
I'll come with just because
he's
I
got
want to
like
go to
the
Italy.
he's got like the burglar outfit on today. He's got
dressed
the
in black.
Yeah.
We snuck up
Be the
around the
Antichrist.
back.
exactly. So thank you so much.
Yep.
I don't know when you're going to be on another episode. Maybe a holiday.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
So
consider it.
I think that's it for us. So from Krista, Kory, and myself from the Strange Cellar. Until next time, stay
Stay strange.
strange.